If you want to take control of your life and achieve real success, it starts with your mindset. The way you think shapes the actions you take, the habits you form, and the results you get every day. In this guide, you will learn practical strategies to train your mind, replace limiting beliefs, build discipline, and stay consistent so you can reach your goals faster. Each chapter gives clear steps you can apply immediately to improve your focus, confidence, resilience, and growth. By following these techniques, you will create lasting change, take responsibility for your choices, and develop the habits that lead to long-term success. This is your opportunity to reprogram your thinking, unlock your potential, and take daily action toward a stronger, more empowered life. Chapter 1. Build daily habits that strengthen focus and self-discipline. Every real change begins not with the world around you, but with yourself. Success is not created by chance, luck, or external conditions. It grows from the choices you make daily, from the habits you build, and from the discipline you practice when no one else is watching. The first step toward reprogramming your mind for success is to take complete ownership of your life and recognize that the foundation of progress lies in your daily habits. Habits are not small details, they are the very architecture of your future. The way you use your time, the thoughts you reinforce, and the actions you repeat carve out the direction of your life. If you want to be focused, disciplined, and truly capable of reaching your goals, you must build the right habits and protect them with discipline. When you examine the lives of successful people, you may notice patterns. They do not wake up each day hoping that motivation alone will carry them forward. Instead, they rely on habits to create momentum. Motivation may start the engine, but habit keeps it running. Focus is not a random burst of energy. It is the result of consistently training your mind to return to what matters most. Discipline is not a punishment. It is the steady force that keeps you aligned with your commitments even when your emotions shift. Both focus and discipline grow stronger when you cultivate daily habits that support them. Habits shape your focus by reducing the number of decisions you must make. When your morning is structured with purposeful actions, you free yourself from distractions and unnecessary choices. For example, if you create a routine of exercising at the same time each day, you no longer debate whether to do it or not. The decision has already been made. That simple structure frees your mind to focus on more meaningful work. The same is true with your study habits, your professional efforts, and even the way you interact with others. By designing your life around constructive habits, you protect yourself from drifting into wasteful patterns. Self-discipline grows when you align your habits with your values. Every person has moments of temptation where it feels easier to give in than to persist. Discipline is not about removing temptation from life, but about strengthening your ability to choose what matters most, despite it. You build this strength by practicing discipline in small, consistent ways. For example, when you decide to complete a task before relaxing, you reinforce the ability to delay gratification. When you choose to rise early instead of staying in bed, you prove to yourself that your commitments are stronger than your impulses. Each of these moments seems minor, but they accumulate into a resilient character. To begin building habits that strengthen focus and discipline, start small and specific. Success is not found in trying to transform everything at once. Instead, pick 1 or 2 areas that matter most and commit to daily practices. For focus, you might begin by setting aside the first hour of your day for concentrated work without distractions. Turn off notifications, put your phone away, and dedicate that time to tasks that move you closer to your long-term goals. For discipline, you might commit to a small but non-negotiable practice, such as writing in a journal each night or completing a short daily workout. These actions may appear small, but they train your mind to expect consistency and to value commitment. It is important to recognize that building new habits requires patience. Your mind is naturally drawn to what is familiar. If you have lived with certain routines for years, replacing them with better ones will feel uncomfortable at first. Do not interpret discomfort as failure. Discomfort is simply the sign that growth is taking place. When you repeat a positive habit consistently, it eventually becomes natural. What once felt like effort becomes automatic. This is why discipline is so powerful. It carries you through the uncomfortable stages until the new habit becomes part of your identity. Another key insight is that your environment influences your habits more than your willpower alone. If you want to strengthen focus, create a space where distractions are minimized. Remove clutter from your workspace, silence unnecessary notifications, and prepare your tools before you begin working. If you want to practice discipline in your health, keep nourishing foods available and reduce access to harmful choices. Do not rely only on inner strength. Shape your surroundings so that the right choices become easier to make. This principle applies to relationships, finances, and learning as well. By designing your environment, you design your habits. Accountability also accelerates discipline. When you share your goals with someone you trust, you create external pressure to remain consistent. This does not mean relying on others to control you, but it does mean inviting support. For example, telling a friend that you will complete a project by the end of the week makes you more likely to follow through. Joining a group with similar habits, such as a study group or a fitness community, keeps you motivated when your personal energy fades. Accountability multiplies discipline because it reminds you that your actions affect more than yourself. One of the most practical ways to reprogram your mindset is to connect habits to identity. Instead of focusing only on what you want to achieve, think about who you want to become. Ask yourself, what would a focused and disciplined person do in this situation? If you want to be someone who values learning, act as a learner each day by reading, practicing, or seeking knowledge. If you want to be someone who is disciplined with money, act as though every choice reflects that identity. Over time, your actions reinforce your self-image, and your self-image strengthens your actions. This cycle creates lasting transformation. Focus and discipline also require boundaries. Your attention is your most valuable resource, yet it is constantly pulled in different directions. If you allow every demand, message, and distraction to enter your day, you will never build the depth of focus needed for meaningful work. Set boundaries with your time by creating clear priorities. Say no to tasks that do not align with your vision. Protect blocks of time for reflection, rest, and concentrated effort. Discipline is not just about what you choose to do, it is also about what you choose not to do. Every yes requires a no, and the more clearly you protect your focus, the more progress you will make. Daily reflection is a powerful tool for strengthening discipline. At the end of each day, ask yourself simple but meaningful questions. Did I stay focused on what mattered most? Did I honor the commitments I made to myself? Where did I allow distractions or weakness to take control? Reflection allows you to learn from experience instead of repeating mistakes blindly. It also keeps you honest with yourself. Self-discipline grows not by pretending to be perfect, but by facing your shortcomings directly and correcting them. There will be days when you fall short, when you break a habit or lose focus. This does not mean you are incapable of change. It means you are human. The key is to respond to setbacks with resilience, rather than self-criticism. A disciplined person does not demand perfection. They demand persistence. If you miss a day, return the next day. If you fail in one moment, succeed in the next. Success is not about never stumbling, but about refusing to remain down. Every time you choose to continue, you strengthen your resilience and prove that your commitment is greater than your temporary weakness. The greatest enemy of discipline is procrastination. Procrastination thrives on the belief that you can always begin tomorrow, but tomorrow is shaped by what you choose today. To overcome procrastination, shorten the gap between intention and action. When you know what must be done, begin immediately with the smallest step. Action creates momentum, and momentum makes the next step easier. Waiting for perfect conditions only wastes time and weakens focus. Discipline is about acting even when conditions are not ideal, trusting that consistent action will create the progress you seek. Another danger to focus and discipline is comparison. When you constantly measure yourself against others, you lose sight of your own path. Your habits are meant to serve your growth, not to impress or compete with anyone else. Instead of comparing your progress to others, compare it to your past self. Ask whether you are more disciplined today than you were yesterday. Success is not about being ahead of others, it is about being ahead of where you once were. This mindset keeps your focus internal and ensures that your discipline is built on lasting values rather than external approval. Building strong habits also requires balance. Discipline is not about exhausting yourself with endless effort. True discipline includes rest, recovery, and renewal. Just as a focused mind requires moments of silence, a disciplined life requires time for restoration. Overworking leads to burnout, which destroys both focus and motivation. Balance your habits by including time for exercise, sleep, and meaningful relationships. These are not distractions, they are fuel for greater discipline. When you care for your body and mind, your ability to sustain focus increases dramatically. In the long term, the most powerful reward of building daily habits is freedom. At first, discipline may feel restrictive. You may resist structure, believing that freedom means doing whatever you want at any moment. But true freedom is the ability to live without being controlled by impulses or distractions. When you train your mind to focus and strengthen your discipline, you free yourself from the chaos of inconsistency. You gain the power to direct your life rather than be carried by circumstances. This freedom is the essence of success. To put these principles into action, begin now with a small habit. Choose one that aligns with your larger vision. Commit to it daily for the next 30 days. Track your progress. Reflect each evening on your consistency. Adjust your environment to support it. Invite accountability if needed. Expect discomfort, but persist. In 1 month, you will not only have built a habit, you will have strengthened your focus and discipline in a way that touches every area of life. The journey of success does not begin with extraordinary talent or endless resources. It begins with the daily choice to live with focus and discipline. Every habit you build becomes a brick in the foundation of your future. Every act of discipline proves to yourself that you are capable of more than your impulses suggest. Every day of focus brings you closer to the life you envision. If you want success, start with yourself. Build the habits that shape focus. Practice the discipline that shapes character. In time, you will look back and see that the person you became was not the result of chance, but of the choices you made each day. This is the path of reprogramming your mind for success. It is not quick, but it is certain. It is not effortless, but it is worth every effort. Success is not waiting outside of you, it is built within you. Begin with daily habits. Strengthen your focus. Guard your discipline. From these simple and steady steps, you will build a life of meaning, resilience, and true achievement. Chapter 2. Develop clarity by setting simple and specific life goals. Clarity is power because when you know exactly what you want, your energy, your time, and your decisions fall into alignment with that vision. A life without clarity drifts in circles, always busy but rarely moving forward. A life with clarity moves with purpose, where every action is guided by direction and every day feels like a meaningful step towards something that matters. Success is not only about working hard, it is about working hard on the right things. The moment you define your goals in a simple and specific way, you remove the fog of confusion and replace it with a clear path you can follow. Most people struggle not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they lack clarity about where they are going. They may want to be happy, successful, or fulfilled, but those desires are too vague to guide their daily actions. If you say you want success but cannot define what success means to you, then you cannot create a plan to reach it. Clarity transforms vague wishes into specific goals that can be acted upon. Instead of saying, "I want to be healthy," clarity would give you the goal, "I will exercise 30 minutes 5 times a week and eat balanced meals." Instead of saying, "I want to improve financially," clarity would lead to, "I will save 20% of my income every month." The difference between a vague desire and a specific goal is the difference between dreaming and progressing. When setting life goals, simplicity is just as important as specificity. Many people overwhelm themselves by creating complicated plans that are impossible to follow consistently. Simplicity cuts through the noise and focuses only on what matters most. A simple goal is not weak. It is powerful because it can be remembered, measured, and achieved. The mind does not thrive on endless complexity. It thrives when it has a clear and manageable target to pursue. When you simplify your goals, you also reduce the chance of procrastination because you remove confusion about where to begin. Specific goals also give you a standard of measurement. If your goal is vague, you never know if you are succeeding or failing. But if your goal is specific, you can track your progress with certainty. For example, if your goal is to read more books, you may never feel satisfied because you do not know what more means. But if your goal is to read 1 book per month, then every month you can clearly see whether you succeeded or not. This measurement keeps you accountable and gives you motivation because progress becomes visible. Progress, no matter how small, is one of the strongest fuels for long-term commitment. Clarity also saves you from distraction. Life constantly presents options that look appealing but do not serve your deeper vision. Without clear goals, you may chase every opportunity and end up exhausted, but unfulfilled. With clear goals, you can evaluate every choice by asking, "Does this bring me closer to my goal or further away?" This simple filter protects your time and energy. It allows you to say no without guilt, because you know exactly why you are saying no. In a world full of noise, clarity is your shield against wasting time on what does not matter. Another benefit of clear and specific goals is that they create momentum. When you wake up knowing exactly what you want to achieve, you start the day with direction. Each small action becomes part of something bigger, and this sense of progress builds confidence. Confidence is not born from wishing. It is born from consistent action toward clear goals. Every time you achieve a specific target, no matter how small, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of achieving more. Over time, these achievements build a strong foundation of self-trust. To develop clarity in your goals, begin by asking yourself powerful questions. What do you truly value in life? What kind of person do you want to become? What would make you feel proud when you look back years from now? Write down the answers without fear of judgment. Clarity begins with honesty. Once you identify what matters most, translate those values into goals that are specific and simple. For example, if you value knowledge, your goal might be study 1 new subject each year. If you value family, your goal might be spend 3 evenings a week in meaningful conversation with loved ones. By connecting your goals to your values, you give them emotional strength that will sustain you through challenges. Breaking goals down into smaller steps is another way to make them practical. A large goal can feel overwhelming, but when divided into simple steps, it becomes achievable. If your goal is to run a marathon, start with running 1 mile, then build up gradually. If your goal is to write a book, start with a daily target of 500 words. Every great achievement is built from consistent small actions. When your goals are broken down, you reduce fear and increase confidence because you know exactly what to do next. Clarity also requires deadlines. Without time frames, goals remain wishes. Deadlines create urgency and structure. They push you to act instead of postponing endlessly. A clear goal with a deadline transforms your mindset from someday to today. Deadlines should be realistic but firm, giving you enough time to succeed without allowing you to drift into delay. For example, I will learn basic conversational Spanish within 6 months is a goal that is both specific and time-bound. It is also important to revisit your goals regularly. Life changes, and so do your priorities. A goal that felt important last year may no longer align with who you are today. Regular reflection ensures that your goals remain relevant and meaningful. This does not mean giving up when things get hard. It means adjusting when your direction changes. Reflection keeps your life aligned with your current vision rather than locking you into outdated paths. Clarity is not only about long-term goals, but also about daily goals. Each morning, decide the top 3 tasks that matter most for that day. This simple practice keeps you productive and prevents you from drowning in endless to-do lists. Daily clarity creates a sense of accomplishment each evening, which builds momentum for the next day. Success is not just the result of big goals achieved years later. It is the result of daily goals achieved consistently. Another powerful way to maintain clarity is through visualization. Spend a few minutes each day imagining what achieving your goals would look and feel like. See yourself living the life you are working toward. Visualization strengthens your belief in the possibility of success and keeps your goals vivid in your mind. The clearer you see your destination, the more motivated you are to move toward it. Surrounding yourself with reminders also strengthens clarity. Place your written goals where you can see them daily. Use reminders on your phone or notes on your desk. The mind is easily distracted, but constant reminders bring your focus back. Every reminder acts as a small push in the right direction. Clarity fades when it is ignored, but it grows stronger when it is reinforced daily. Finally, understand that clarity requires courage. Setting specific goals means you are committing to a path. This can be intimidating because it removes the comfort of vagueness. When you set a clear goal, you can no longer hide behind excuses. Your progress is visible, but courage is the price of growth. Embrace it. When you live with clarity, you may face challenges, but you also live with purpose. That purpose gives meaning to every effort, every sacrifice, and every success along the way. Clarity is not about perfection. It is about direction. Even if your first goals are not flawless, the act of setting them moves you forward. With every step you gain more understanding, and with more understanding, your clarity deepens. The key is to begin. Begin with one simple and specific goal. Commit to it. Take action daily. Measure your progress. Reflect often. Adjust when needed. This cycle will guide you toward growth, resilience, and fulfillment. When you live with clear and specific goals, your days are no longer random. They become chapters in the story of your growth. Every action serves a purpose. Every choice has meaning. Success stops being a distant hope and becomes a daily practice. This is how clarity transforms your life. It gives you power, direction, and peace of mind, because you know where you are going and why it matters. And when you know where you are going, no obstacle can keep you from arriving. Chapter 3. Train your mind to replace negative thoughts with positive ones. Your life changes the moment you take control of your thoughts, because every decision, every action, and every outcome begins in your mind. Negative thinking drains energy, clouds judgment, and creates fear that holds you back from progress, while positive thinking fuels action, builds resilience, and opens the door to solutions. Training your mind to replace negative thoughts with positive ones is not about ignoring reality or pretending that problems do not exist. It is about choosing a mindset that helps you respond with strength instead of weakness. Negative thoughts appear naturally because the human mind has long been wired to focus on danger and uncertainty. This may have been useful for survival in the past, but today it often creates unnecessary stress, doubt, and hesitation. If left unchecked, negative thoughts grow stronger with repetition, shaping your beliefs and behavior in destructive ways. The good news is that thoughts are habits of the mind, and habits can be reprogrammed. With awareness, practice, and persistence, you can replace negative patterns with empowering ones that serve your growth and success. The first step is awareness. Many people live under the influence of negative thoughts without even noticing them. They repeat phrases like "I am not good enough," "I will never succeed," or "everything is against me," until these statements feel like truth. But a thought is not a fact. It is only a mental event that you can question and change. Begin by observing your inner dialogue throughout the day. Pay attention to the words you use when speaking to yourself. Do you encourage or criticize? Do you see opportunities or obstacles? Awareness is powerful because you cannot change what you do not notice. Once you recognize a negative thought, challenge it directly. Ask yourself, is this thought accurate? Or is it exaggerated? Does it help me move forward, or does it hold me back? For example, if you catch yourself thinking, "I always fail," question that statement. Is it really true that you always fail, or are you ignoring the times you succeeded? Most negative thoughts are built on distortion, not reality. By questioning them, you weaken their power. After challenging a negative thought, replace it with a positive and realistic alternative. If your mind says "I can't do this," respond with "I can learn how to do this step by step." If your thought says "I will never improve," replace it with "I am improving with every effort I make." The replacement must be believable. You are not lying to yourself. You are choosing a perspective that fuels action instead of paralysis. Positive replacements strengthen your mindset by building a habit of constructive self-talk. Another practical method is to focus on solutions rather than problems. Negative thoughts thrive when you dwell on what went wrong, while positive thoughts grow when you shift attention to what can be done next. Instead of saying "I made a mistake," say "I learned what not to do and will adjust." Instead of "This challenge is impossible," think "This challenge is tough, but I will break it down into smaller steps." By directing your attention to solutions, you train your mind to see possibilities rather than limitations. Surrounding yourself with positive input also helps reprogram your thinking. The voices you listen to, the content you consume, and the people you interact with all influence your mindset. If you spend time around negativity, it is easy to adopt it unconsciously. But if you surround yourself with positive influences, books, mentors, uplifting conversations, you feed your mind with empowering thoughts. This does not mean ignoring difficult realities. It means strengthening your mental foundation so you can face them with confidence. Gratitude is another powerful practice for replacing negativity. When your mind is focused on what is lacking, it easily creates discouragement. Gratitude shifts attention to what is already present and valuable in your life. Each day, write down 3 things you are grateful for, no matter small. Over time, this trains your brain to search for good instead of constantly scanning for what is wrong. Gratitude does not erase difficulties, but it balances your perspective and creates resilience. Visualization can also reinforce positive thinking. When you imagine yourself succeeding, overcoming challenges, or staying calm under pressure, your brain responds as if you were actually experiencing it. This practice builds confidence and helps rewire negative associations. Spend a few minutes daily visualizing yourself handling situations with strength, making progress, and reaching your goals. Visualization strengthens your belief in possibility, which is the foundation of positive action. Physical actions also influence your thoughts. When negative thinking dominates, your posture often reflects it. You slump, breathe shallowly, and move sluggishly. Changing your physical state can interrupt negative patterns. Stand tall, breathe deeply, move with energy, and your mind begins to follow your body's signals. Exercise, even in small amounts, has been shown to reduce negativity and increase optimism. Taking care of your body supports the reprogramming of your mind. Journaling is a practical tool for capturing and reshaping thoughts. Write down the negative beliefs that arise and then rewrite them in positive and empowering terms. For example, if you write, "I am not capable," immediately rewrite, "I am capable of learning and growing." Over time, your journal becomes a record of transformation, showing you how far you have come in replacing harmful thoughts with constructive ones. Mindfulness meditation is another effective practice. By sitting quietly and observing your thoughts without judgment, you learn to see them as passing events rather than permanent truths. This detachment weakens the grip of negativity. When a negative thought arises, acknowledge it and let it pass instead of holding on to it. This practice creates mental space and calm, allowing positive thoughts to take root more easily. Consistency is essential. Training your mind is like training a muscle. The more you practice replacing negative thoughts, the stronger your positive mindset becomes. At first it may feel unnatural, and the old patterns may try to pull you back, but with persistence the new habits grow stronger and the negative patterns weaken. Eventually, positive thinking becomes your default response rather than a forced effort. It is also important to remember that positive thinking does not mean ignoring pain or denying challenges. Life brings difficulties, and pretending they do not exist is not strength. Strength comes from acknowledging reality while choosing a mindset that allows you to face it with hope, courage, and action. Positive thinking is not about avoiding truth. It is about responding to truth in a way that empowers you. Celebrate progress as you train your mind. Notice when you catch yourself replacing a negative thought with a positive one and acknowledge that victory. Each small success reinforces the habit. Over time, these small shifts create profound transformation. You will notice more confidence, greater peace, and a stronger ability to keep moving forward even in hard times. The mind is your most powerful tool. If you fill it with negative beliefs, it will work against you. If you fill it with positive beliefs, it will work for you. The choice is always in your hands. Every day presents opportunities to practice this training. Every challenge is a chance to replace fear with courage, doubt with faith, and despair with hope. When you master this practice, you no longer live as a prisoner of negative thinking. You live as the creator of your mindset, the director of your focus, and the builder of your future. You are not defined by the thoughts that appear in your mind. You are defined by the ones you choose to keep. And when you choose positive thoughts consistently, you build a life of resilience, growth, and success. Chapter 4. Strengthen resilience by facing challenges with steady determination. Strength is not built in times of comfort, but in the moments when you choose to keep moving forward, despite obstacles that seem impossible to overcome. Resilience is the ability to rise after setbacks, to endure pressure without breaking, and to stay committed when the path feels heavy. Every challenge life places before you is not a barrier meant to stop you, but a test that shapes your character. The person who learns to face difficulties with steady determination develops an inner strength that cannot be shaken by circumstances. Resilience begins with mindset. When challenges appear, most people ask, "Why me?" A resilient person asks, "How can I use this?" That small change in perspective transforms the way you respond. If you see every obstacle as punishment, you weaken yourself. If you see it as an opportunity to grow, you empower yourself. This shift requires discipline because the natural reaction to hardship is resistance or fear. Training your mind to view challenges as lessons requires effort, but with practice, it becomes part of who you are. Determination is the steady commitment to move forward, no matter how heavy the burden becomes. It is not about speed, it is about persistence. You may progress slowly, but if you refuse to stop, you are still moving toward victory. Determination is built by choosing not to give up in small daily struggles. When you complete a task even though you feel tired, you strengthen determination. When you keep promises to yourself despite temptation to quit, you strengthen determination. Each act of persistence prepares you for larger challenges ahead. One of the most powerful ways to build resilience is to accept that struggle is part of life. Many people waste energy wishing for an easier path, but life does not become easier. You become stronger. Accepting this truth frees you from disappointment and prepares you to endure with courage. When hardship comes, you no longer ask for escape, you ask for strength. This acceptance transforms fear into readiness and bitterness into endurance. Resilience also grows when you set your focus on what you can control. Many difficulties cannot be removed immediately, but your response to them is always in your hands. If you spend your energy on things beyond your control, you drain yourself with frustration. But when you direct your energy toward actions within your reach, you build momentum even in difficult times. For example, you cannot control how others behave, but you can control your attitude. You cannot control every external condition, but you can control your preparation, your discipline, and your persistence. This focus creates stability even in unstable environments. A practical way to strengthen resilience is to break challenges into smaller steps. When a problem seems too large, it creates the temptation to quit. But when you divide it into smaller parts, you realize progress is possible. Instead of trying to solve everything at once, take the next step. Step by step, the impossible becomes manageable. Each small victory builds confidence, and that confidence feeds resilience. Support from others also plays a role. Facing difficulties does not mean isolating yourself. A strong support system of people who encourage and believe in you can give you strength when your own energy is low. Sharing burdens does not make you weak, it makes you wise. However, resilience also requires independence. You must learn to stand even when support is limited. Balance comes from offering help when available while never depending entirely on others for your strength. Resilient people also maintain discipline in self-care. Challenges demand energy, and if you neglect your body and mind, you weaken your ability to endure. Proper rest, nutrition, and exercise are not luxuries, they are necessities for resilience. Mental practices like reflection, journaling, or meditation help release stress and maintain clarity. By taking care of yourself, you preserve the strength needed to continue the journey. Another essential element of resilience is patience. Many people collapse under pressure, not because they are incapable, but because they want immediate results. They underestimate the time required for real progress. Resilience means understanding that meaningful achievements often take longer than expected. When you accept this, you no longer feel defeated by slow progress. Instead, you stay steady, knowing that persistence is more powerful than speed. Learning from past struggles also strengthens resilience. Every difficulty carries a lesson, if you are willing to look for it. Reflect on moments when you faced hardship before. What did you learn about yourself? How did you grow stronger afterward? Reminding yourself of past victories builds confidence that you can endure again. History becomes proof of your ability to rise. Another practice is to create meaning in your challenges. If you view suffering as meaningless, it feels unbearable. But if you see it as part of your growth, you endure with purpose. For example, enduring hardship to provide for your family, to grow as a person, or to achieve a dream gives suffering a reason. Purpose turns pain into fuel for determination. Without purpose, even small struggles feel unbearable. With purpose, even great struggles can be faced with courage. Resilience also requires flexibility. Determination is about never quitting, but it is not about being stubborn with methods that do not work. If one path is blocked, resilience means finding another. If a strategy fails, resilience means adapting instead of surrendering. Flexibility ensures that determination does not become rigidity. You stay committed to the goal, but open to different approaches. Emotional control is another foundation. Challenges trigger fear, anger, and frustration, but if you allow emotions to dominate, you lose clarity. Resilient people do not deny emotions, but they manage them. They acknowledge feelings, but they do not let those feelings dictate their decisions. This balance between emotion and reason keeps them steady under pressure. Celebrating progress strengthens determination. Resilience is not only about surviving hardship, it is also about recognizing growth along the way. Acknowledge each small victory. Recognize the strength you are building through persistence. This recognition motivates you to continue when the road is still long. Above all, resilience is a decision. You may not choose your challenges, but you always choose your response. You can choose to surrender, or you can choose to persist. Each time you choose persistence, you prove that your will is stronger than your obstacles. Over time, this decision becomes instinct, and you respond to every challenge with courage. Life will continue to test you. Challenges will come in different forms: financial struggles, health problems, disappointments, failures, and unexpected setbacks. You cannot control when they arrive, but you can prepare yourself to meet them with strength. The more you practice resilience in small struggles, the more prepared you will be for greater ones. Resilience is not the absence of pain or hardship, it is the refusal to be broken by them. Determination is not the absence of doubt, it is the choice to act in spite of doubt. Together they form the unshakable spirit of a person who cannot be stopped. This is the kind of strength that creates lasting success. When you build resilience, you no longer fear challenges. You see them as opportunities to prove your strength, to refine your character, and to move closer to your vision. Each difficulty becomes another step in your growth. And when you face them with steady determination, you discover that no challenge is greater than the strength within you. Chapter 5. Practice gratitude each day to rewire your mindset toward growth. Gratitude is one of the most powerful forces you can bring into your daily life, because it has the ability to shift your entire perspective, calm your mind, and strengthen your spirit in ways that no external achievement can. When you begin to train yourself to notice what is good, what is working, and what is worth appreciating, you immediately start changing the way your brain processes the world around you. Instead of being pulled into frustration, comparison, and negativity, you anchor yourself in awareness of abundance. Gratitude is not only about being polite or saying thank you, it is about rewiring your mind to see growth where others only see lack, to see progress where others only see struggle, and to find peace even when life is far from perfect. Most people overlook gratitude because they believe it is something small or insignificant, but in truth, it is the foundation of a strong mindset. Without gratitude, you will always feel like something is missing no matter how much you achieve. You may have money, recognition, or possessions, yet your mind will still focus on what you do not have. Gratitude breaks this cycle by shifting your attention toward what you already possess and what is already working in your life. This awareness brings a sense of sufficiency, which in turn gives you strength to grow further. The act of practicing gratitude each day creates a ripple effect that goes beyond emotions. Neuroscience has shown that focusing on gratitude activates regions of the brain associated with learning, decision-making, and emotional regulation. That means when you practice it consistently, you are not just feeling better in the moment, you are reshaping the structure of your brain to think in healthier, more productive ways. Over time, gratitude literally trains your brain to scan for positives instead of dwelling on negatives. You might ask, how do you practice gratitude in a way that makes a difference? The answer is simplicity and consistency. Each day, find small moments to pause and notice what you can be thankful for. It could be something as ordinary as having clean water to drink, the ability to walk, the presence of a supportive friend, or even the lessons that come from failure. When you write these things down in a journal or say them aloud, you reinforce the thought pattern. The more you repeat this process, the stronger it becomes. Gratitude is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it grows. A practical step is to begin or end your day with a gratitude exercise. In the morning, write down 3 things you appreciate about your life. In the evening, reflect on what went well during the day, even if the day was filled with difficulty. This habit rewires your mind to stop magnifying what went wrong and instead highlight what went right. Over time, your perspective changes and you become more resilient in the face of challenges. Gratitude is also a powerful antidote to envy and comparison. Many people struggle because they constantly measure themselves against others. Social media intensifies this problem by presenting curated images of success, beauty, and wealth. When you practice gratitude, you take the focus away from what others have and redirect it toward the value of your own life. You stop chasing validation and instead feel grounded in appreciation. That does not mean you stop striving for growth. It means you strive without resentment or jealousy. Practicing gratitude can also transform relationships. When you make it a habit to express appreciation toward people around you, you create stronger bonds and healthier connections. A simple acknowledgement of someone's effort or presence can uplift both you and them. Gratitude in relationships strengthens trust, reduces conflict, and builds deeper emotional ties. It reminds you that people are not to be taken for granted, but to be valued as part of your growth journey. Gratitude is not only about celebrating the good, it is also about reframing the difficult. Life will present pain, loss, and hardship, but even in those moments there are lessons and hidden opportunities. When you choose to be grateful for challenges, you build resilience. For example, you can be thankful for a failure because it revealed weaknesses you need to address. You can be grateful for rejection because it redirected you to a better path. You can even be thankful for discomfort because it pushes you to grow beyond your limits. This kind of gratitude does not deny the reality of pain, but it empowers you to use it for your development. The practice of gratitude also helps manage stress and anxiety. When your mind is overwhelmed with problems, fear takes over. Gratitude interrupts that cycle by reminding you that not everything is falling apart, that there are still things working in your favor, and that you have resources to carry on. Focusing on gratitude lowers stress hormones, calms the nervous system, and gives you the clarity to face problems with a stronger attitude. One powerful exercise is what some call gratitude reframing. When something goes wrong, ask yourself, what can I still appreciate about this situation? Or what lesson can I carry forward? This question shifts your mind from victimhood to empowerment. Instead of being consumed by frustration, you extract meaning and strength. Over time, this habit ensures that no experience is wasted, and every difficulty contributes to your growth. To make gratitude part of your mindset, you must practice it not only during quiet moments, but also throughout your day. You can train yourself to pause when you eat and appreciate the food in front of you. You can appreciate the effort you put into your work, the presence of loved ones, or even the beauty of nature around you. The more you integrate gratitude into ordinary moments, the more natural it becomes to see life through a lens of abundance rather than lack. Another practice is to shift your language. Words shape perception, and when you speak with gratitude, you reinforce positivity. For example, instead of saying, "I have to go to work," say, "I am grateful I have work to support myself." Instead of saying, "I'm stuck at home," say, "I am grateful I have a safe space to rest." This small adjustment in language rewires your mindset and reminds you to appreciate what you once might have taken for granted. Gratitude also enhances long-term motivation. When you constantly focus on what is missing, you feel drained and discouraged. But when you focus on what you already have, you create a stable foundation of contentment. From that foundation, you can pursue bigger goals without desperation. Gratitude gives you the ability to want more while still being satisfied with where you are. This balance creates steady motivation that does not collapse under pressure. In addition to journaling and reflection, another effective tool is sharing gratitude with others. Each day, make it a point to tell someone why you appreciate them. It could be a message, a note, or a spoken acknowledgement. Expressing gratitude not only strengthens your relationships, but also deepens your own sense of joy. When you give appreciation, you receive it internally as well. If you ever find yourself struggling to feel grateful because life seems overwhelming, start with the basics. Focus on breath, on the ability to see, on the fact that you have survived every challenge so far. Gratitude for the simplest things can open the door to greater appreciation over time. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to find light even in difficult times. Gratitude is not about ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It is about choosing to focus on what empowers you rather than what drains you. By making gratitude a daily discipline, you train your brain to move from scarcity to abundance, from frustration to hope, from limitation to growth. This is how gratitude rewires your mindset. It reshapes the way you think, feel, and act in every situation. The truth is, life will always contain both difficulty and opportunity. The difference lies in where you direct your focus. If you choose to dwell on what is missing, you will always feel empty. If you choose to practice gratitude, you will feel rich in ways that cannot be measured by material possessions alone. Gratitude strengthens your mindset, fuels your growth, and equips you with the inner strength to create a life of purpose and fulfillment. Chapter 6. Improve self-talk to create confidence and inner belief. The words you speak to yourself every single day can either lift you up or slowly tear you down, and the quality of your self-talk will directly shape the confidence you carry and the belief you have in your own ability to succeed. Most people underestimate the power of their inner dialogue, yet it is the very voice that influences decisions, reactions, and ultimately the life they create. If you constantly criticize yourself, doubt your worth, or replay memories of failure, you weaken your own potential before even taking a step forward. On the other hand, when you intentionally build a habit of encouraging, supportive, and empowering self-talk, you strengthen your inner foundation and give yourself the courage to move toward bigger challenges with certainty. Improving self-talk starts with awareness. Many people live for years without even realizing how harsh or negative their internal voice has become. They tolerate insults from themselves that they would never accept from another person. This unconscious habit forms through upbringing, experiences, and repeated disappointments, but it can be changed with consistent effort. The first step is to catch yourself in the act. Begin noticing the words that run through your mind when you make a mistake, when you face difficulty, or when you compare yourself to others. Pay attention to whether your inner dialogue is helping you grow or keeping you stuck. Awareness creates the opportunity to choose differently. Once you recognize the nature of your self-talk, the next step is to interrupt harmful patterns and replace them with constructive ones. For example, instead of saying, "I always fail," shift the statement to, "I am learning from this experience." Instead of thinking, "I am not good enough," practice saying, "I am improving every day." These shifts may feel unnatural at first, but with repetition they rewire the way your brain processes situations. Over time, supportive self-talk becomes your automatic response, and this change directly increases your confidence. A powerful method to strengthen positive self-talk is the use of affirmations. Affirmations are not about blind optimism, but about creating statements that align with who you want to become and repeating them until your mind begins to accept them as reality. For example, telling yourself, "I am disciplined, I can handle challenges," or "I trust myself to succeed," builds inner belief. The key is to choose affirmations that feel realistic, yet forward-focused, and to repeat them consistently in moments of doubt. Speaking them aloud in the morning, writing them in a journal, or even recording them for playback reinforces their power. Self-talk also influences the way you handle setbacks. Every person will face moments of failure or rejection, but the difference between those who recover and those who give up lies in the conversation they have with themselves afterward. If your self-talk tells you that you are hopeless and incapable, you will avoid trying again. But if your inner dialogue reminds you that mistakes are part of growth, that effort creates improvement, and that setbacks are temporary, you will keep moving forward. Resilient self-talk creates resilient people. It is also important to avoid comparing your journey to others, because comparison is one of the fastest ways to poison self-talk. When you measure yourself against someone else's progress, your inner voice often shifts into criticism and doubt. Instead, redirect your self-talk toward your own path by saying, "I am focused on my progress," or "I am moving forward at my own pace." This builds confidence because it takes the energy away from competition and places it back into self-growth. Another practical step is to notice the language you use in everyday conversations, because the words you speak externally often reflect your inner dialogue. If you constantly say, "I can't," "I'm unlucky," or "I'm not capable," you are reinforcing those beliefs internally. Shift your language to "I will find a way," "I'm working on it," or "I am capable of learning." This does not mean ignoring reality, but choosing to frame it in a way that builds belief rather than destroys it. Visualization can also play a role in shaping self-talk. When you imagine yourself succeeding, handling challenges, or staying calm under pressure, your mind begins to develop the language that matches those images. Pairing visualization with positive self-talk creates a strong feedback loop. The words support the image, and the image strengthens the words. Over time, this makes confidence more natural and less forced. The environment you surround yourself with can influence the quality of your self-talk as well. If you spend time around people who constantly complain, criticize, or speak negatively, your inner dialogue will often mirror that. But if you place yourself among people who speak with encouragement, optimism, and strength, your own self-talk will begin to shift in that direction. Choose relationships that reinforce the kind of inner voice you want to develop. Another technique is to adopt a coaching mindset with yourself. Imagine you are guiding someone you care about. If they failed, would you tell them they are worthless? No, you would encourage them, remind them of their strengths, and help them see the next step forward. Apply that same standard to yourself. When your inner voice turns harsh, ask, would I say this to someone I love? If the answer is no, change the statement to something more constructive. This habit will prevent self-talk from becoming destructive. Confidence grows when you keep promises to yourself, and self-talk plays a role here as well. If you tell yourself you will wake up early, exercise, or complete a task, and you follow through, your inner voice strengthens with proof. You begin to believe yourself because your actions align with your words. On the other hand, if you constantly break promises to yourself, your self-talk will become filled with doubt. The way to rebuild it is through small, consistent wins. Each time you follow through, remind yourself, I can trust my own word. This statement builds inner belief and fuels greater discipline. It is also essential to practice self-compassion through your self-talk. Many people believe that being harsh on themselves will motivate change, but research shows that self-compassion leads to better outcomes. When you acknowledge your effort, forgive your mistakes, and encourage yourself to try again, you build sustainable confidence. Harsh criticism only creates fear of failure, while compassionate self-talk creates courage to continue. Self-talk can even influence your physical state. When you tell yourself you are tired, weak, or incapable, your body responds with less energy and less strength. When you tell yourself you are focused, capable, and determined, your body rises to meet that expectation. Athletes often use self-talk to enhance performance because they understand the direct connection between words and action. You can apply the same principle in daily life to perform better at work, relationships, and personal goals. The practice of journaling can help refine your self-talk. Write down the negative thoughts you notice, then challenge each one by rewriting it into a more constructive statement. For instance, I will never succeed can become I am learning the skills needed to succeed. Over time, this exercise trains your brain to naturally shift from destructive to empowering language. Remember that confidence is not something you are born with. It is something you build through consistent practice. Every time you choose to replace a negative thought with a positive one, every time you speak to yourself with encouragement instead of criticism, you are strengthening the foundation of your inner belief. Confidence does not come from perfection. It comes from the willingness to keep showing up with supportive self-talk even when life feels uncertain. The voice inside your head is with you from the moment you wake until the moment you sleep. It never leaves, which means it will either be your greatest ally or your most damaging enemy. By improving your self-talk, you decide which role it will play. Seek words that guide you forward, create sentences that reinforce strength, and repeat phrases that remind you of your potential. Over time, this practice becomes natural, and you will no longer have to force confidence. It will grow as the natural result of the way you speak to yourself. When you make self-talk a daily discipline, you take control of the most important influence on your mindset. You no longer rely solely on external validation or approval, because your inner voice becomes strong enough to carry you through. This creates a deep sense of belief that no obstacle can easily shake. Improving your self-talk is not about ignoring flaws or pretending to be perfect. It is about building a relationship with yourself that is grounded in respect, encouragement, and trust. From that foundation, true confidence emerges and inner belief becomes unshakable. Chapter 7. Focus on solutions instead of dwelling on constant problems. The direction of your life is determined not by the number of problems you face, but by the way you choose to respond to them. And the most powerful shift you can make is to stop feeding energy into what is wrong, and instead put your attention on creating solutions. Problems are unavoidable. Every person will encounter setbacks, challenges, and unexpected obstacles. But those who succeed are the ones who train themselves to stop repeating the story of the difficulty and start building a plan for progress. When you dwell on problems, you magnify them, making them appear larger and heavier than they truly are. When you focus on solutions, you reduce their weight and empower yourself to act with clarity and strength. The first step to focusing on solutions is to recognize how much time and energy you lose when you complain or replay issues in your head without moving forward. Dwelling creates mental exhaustion and emotional frustration because it convinces you that the situation is fixed and unchangeable. By contrast, solutions thinking restores energy because it shifts your perspective from helplessness to control. This simple shift transforms the way you experience challenges, giving you the mental stability to act with purpose rather than with fear. When a problem arises, pause and acknowledge it honestly without exaggerating its impact. Instead of saying, "This is impossible," ask yourself, "What is one thing I can do right now to make this situation better?" That single question rewires your brain to start searching for answers rather than building walls. Even the smallest action toward resolution is more valuable than hours of complaining about what went wrong. This principle applies to every part of life: work, relationships, health, or personal goals. Solutions-based thinking requires training. It does not happen by accident, because the natural reaction of the human mind is often to focus on the negative. To retrain yourself, practice observing your thoughts. Each time you notice yourself replaying the same issue or describing the same obstacle, interrupt the pattern and ask, "How does this help me?" If the answer is that it doesn't, redirect yourself to solution-focused questions. Over time, this practice strengthens your ability to shift attention quickly and prevents you from wasting energy on unproductive thoughts. One effective technique is to reframe the way you describe difficulties. Words matter, and the way you label something can either limit or empower you. Instead of calling something a problem, call it a challenge. Instead of saying something is a disaster, call it a situation that requires solutions. This small adjustment in language reduces emotional resistance and helps you view obstacles as opportunities for action. By changing the description, you change the way your mind responds. Another practical step is to break problems into smaller, more manageable pieces. Dwelling often comes from looking at the issue as one massive burden that feels overwhelming. But when you divide it into parts, you see that progress is possible. Ask yourself, what is the first step I can take, and then commit to that action. Once you complete it, look at the next step. Each piece you solve gives you momentum, and soon the situation that once felt heavy begins to feel controllable. Focusing on solutions also requires you to adopt responsibility. Many people stay stuck in problems because they place blame on others, on circumstances, or on unfairness. While these factors may be real, dwelling on them does not change the outcome. Responsibility shifts your attention inward by asking, "What can I do to influence this situation?" Taking ownership does not mean everything is your fault. It means you recognize that you have the ability to respond in ways that move you closer to resolution. This mindset builds resilience and maturity, two essential qualities for success. To strengthen your ability to focus on solutions, practice surrounding yourself with people who live with this approach. Some individuals thrive on negativity and will encourage you to dwell on what is wrong, replaying frustrations without offering improvement. Being around such energy keeps you stuck. Instead, connect with those who ask better questions, who push you to think forward, and who believe in taking action. Their mindset will reinforce your own and make it easier to stay focused on answers rather than obstacles. Another valuable practice is to measure progress rather than perfection. If you expect to solve every issue instantly, you will become discouraged and fall back into dwelling. Solutions-based thinking is not about instant results. It is about steady improvement. Celebrate each small step toward resolution, no matter how minor it may seem. These wins reinforce your belief that you can handle challenges, and that belief builds confidence for even larger issues. When emotions run high, it becomes easy to stay stuck in frustration. In such moments, give yourself a brief pause to calm down before returning to the situation. Deep breathing, stepping away for a short walk, or writing down your feelings can release emotional tension. Once your mind is calmer, return with fresh eyes and begin asking constructive questions. A calm mind sees solutions that an angry or overwhelmed mind cannot. Solutions-focused living also improves relationships. In conflicts, many people argue by repeating the problem over and over. They point fingers, list mistakes, and bring up past issues, which only intensifies resentment. Instead, shift the conversation toward what can be done now to improve the situation. Questions like, how can we fix this, or what agreement can we create going forward, prevent endless dwelling and lead to practical resolutions. Relationships grow stronger when energy is invested in solutions rather than blame. In professional settings, solution-oriented individuals are often seen as leaders. Because they do not get stuck on difficulties, they move forward. If you want to stand out at work, become the person who offers ideas and takes initiative instead of the one who only highlights problems. Employers, colleagues, and clients value those who bring solutions because they create progress rather than stagnation. Developing this skill will not only make you more effective, but also open doors to new opportunities. You can also train yourself to use visualization as a tool for solutions. Instead of imagining all the ways something could go wrong, visualize possible outcomes and the steps to achieve them. See yourself taking action, solving challenges, and overcoming barriers. This exercise not only reduces fear, but also primes your brain to recognize opportunities when they appear in reality. Maintaining focus on solutions requires persistence because the mind will always be tempted to slip back into old habits of worry. Consistency is key. Each time you succeed in redirecting your attention from dwelling to acting, you strengthen a mental pathway that becomes easier to follow next time. With enough repetition, this becomes your default way of thinking, and you will notice that problems no longer weigh you down the way they once did. Ultimately, the discipline of focusing on solutions is about regaining power over your life. Problems will come, but they do not have to define you. You can either give your time, energy, and peace of mind to repeating what went wrong, or you can use that same energy to search for what can be done. One choice leaves you stuck. The other moves you forward. Every day, in every situation, you have the opportunity to decide where your focus will go. If you want to build a stronger mindset, train yourself to direct your thoughts, words, and actions towards solutions. Instead of wasting hours repeating difficulties, use that time to create possibilities. Instead of feeding fear, feed determination. Instead of allowing challenges to drain you, allow them to sharpen you. By consistently choosing solutions over dwelling, you build a resilient, action-oriented mindset that prepares you to handle anything life places in your path. This is the difference between staying stuck and creating lasting growth, and it is a choice you can make starting right now. Chapter 8. Take consistent small actions that lead to big results. Every major breakthrough you admire in life is built on countless small actions that seemed insignificant at the time, but when repeated with consistency, created a powerful momentum toward success. Too often, people believe that only grand gestures or huge sacrifices lead to transformation, yet the truth is that steady, deliberate steps taken day after day shape the path to the future you want. Success is rarely the result of one massive leap. It is almost always the outcome of hundreds of small choices compounded over time. The challenge for most is that small actions do not feel impressive in the moment. Waking up 10 minutes earlier, choosing a healthier meal, saving a small amount of money, reading a few pages of a book, practicing a new skill for half an hour. These may feel too minor to matter, but what feels minor today becomes powerful tomorrow when it is repeated consistently. The difference between those who achieve their goals and those who don't is rarely talent or luck. It is persistence in repeating the right actions long enough for the results to appear. Think about it. If you improve just 1% each day, in 1 year, you will not be 1% better, you will be 37 times better. That is the power of compound growth. The same applies to negative actions. Skipping small responsibilities, avoiding effort, making excuses. These choices may feel harmless, but they also compound and build into regret. That is why being intentional with small actions matters so much, because they shape who you are becoming. Consistency is what turns intention into reality. Many people start strong, motivated by excitement, but fade when results don't come quickly. They expect dramatic changes overnight and become frustrated when progress seems invisible. But real growth works silently. The seed planted underground does not show immediate results, yet with care and time, it pushes through the soil and grows into something remarkable. The same is true for your efforts. If you give up too early, you never see the transformation your consistency was building. One of the most powerful ways to take consistent small actions is to build daily routines. Routines remove the need for constant decision-making and make progress automatic. When you schedule habits into your day, you reduce resistance and make success the natural outcome of your lifestyle. Over time, these habits stack and reinforce each other, creating a strong foundation that supports bigger goals. For example, a simple routine of exercising for 20 minutes, journaling your thoughts, and planning the day can reshape your energy, focus, and clarity over months of repetition. Small actions are also powerful because they remove the intimidation of big goals. Looking at the entire mountain you want to climb can feel overwhelming, but breaking it down into daily steps makes it manageable. If your goal is to write a book, commit to writing 1 page a day. If your goal is to run a marathon, start by jogging for 5 minutes. If your goal is financial freedom, begin by setting aside a small percentage of income. Progress builds confidence, and confidence fuels more progress. What once seemed impossible begins to feel achievable as each small action accumulates. Another key is to measure consistency rather than perfection. Many people quit because they missed a day, slipped into old habits, or felt they weren't doing enough. But progress is not about flawless execution. It's about staying committed even when setbacks occur. Missing 1 day is not failure. Quitting altogether is. The goal is not to be perfect, but to be persistent. Each time you return to the action, you strengthen discipline and prove to yourself that you are serious about growth. To make consistency easier, connect your small actions to a larger purpose. Ask yourself why these steps matter to you. If your reason is strong, you will find the discipline to keep going even when motivation fades. Motivation is temporary, but purpose fuels endurance. Every time you take a small action, remind yourself of the bigger future you are building. This awareness transforms simple tasks into meaningful contributions toward your vision. Accountability also strengthens consistency. Share your goals with someone you trust, track your progress, or create reminders that keep you focused. When you make your actions visible, you increase the likelihood of following through. Accountability adds structure and prevents you from slipping into excuses or forgetting your commitments. Over time, it becomes easier to stay aligned with your goals because you have built an environment that supports your consistency. Celebrate your progress along the way. Recognizing the completion of small actions gives you encouragement to continue. Too many people wait until the final outcome to feel proud, but that delay drains motivation. Instead, acknowledge the discipline you showed today. Applaud yourself for the effort, not just the result. Each day you follow through, you reinforce the identity of someone who is committed, reliable, and capable of growth. Consistency in small actions not only builds external results, but also transforms your internal identity. Each choice you make is a vote for the person you want to become. When you consistently follow through, you begin to see yourself differently. You start to believe you are disciplined, resilient, and capable of achievement. That belief then influences how you approach bigger challenges. Your self-image grows stronger with each small act of commitment, and soon your actions and identity align with the life you want to create. Small actions also have a way of creating unexpected opportunities. By showing up consistently, you place yourself in situations where growth and progress naturally emerge. A writer who publishes daily builds an audience. A professional who constantly learns gains new skills that attract opportunities. A person who takes care of their health consistently builds energy that opens doors to experiences they would have missed otherwise. Opportunities do not appear randomly, they come to those who prepare through consistent effort. Consistency requires patience, and patience is developed through trust. Trust that your actions, no matter how small, are creating a ripple effect. Trust that growth is happening even when you cannot see it. Trust that the investment you make today will compound into something greater tomorrow. When you focus on the process rather than obsessing over immediate results, you free yourself from frustration and stay steady in your pursuit. The difference between those who talk about change and those who achieve it is the discipline to act daily. Ideas without execution mean nothing. Dreams without consistent effort remain illusions. But when you act, even in small ways, you bridge the gap between intention and reality. You prove that you are not waiting for the perfect time or for conditions to align. You are moving forward now. There will be days when you feel unmotivated, tired, or doubtful. Those are the days when small actions matter the most. Do not underestimate the power of simply showing up. Writing one paragraph, making one phone call, taking one step, these moments keep the momentum alive. Success is not built on how you act when you feel great. It is built on what you do when you don't feel like it. The discipline to act, despite mood, separates achievers from dreamers. Over time, your consistent small actions become habits, and habits become your lifestyle. Once they are embedded into your daily rhythm, they require less effort and deliver greater results. At that point, success becomes not just what you achieve, but who you are. You no longer have to force discipline. It flows naturally because you have become the type of person who takes consistent action. Your future is not shaped in one giant leap. It is shaped in the quiet moments when you choose to follow through, even when no one is watching. Every choice is a seed planted, and each seed has the potential to grow into something significant. By staying consistent with your small actions, you are building a life that compounds into extraordinary results. Never underestimate the power of what you do today, because it is those choices that decide who you will become tomorrow. Chapter 9. Learn new skills daily to expand your personal potential. The fastest way to unlock more opportunities in life is to commit to learning something new every single day, because each new skill you develop expands what you are capable of achieving and multiplies the value you bring to the world. Stagnation comes from repeating the same patterns without growth, while progress comes from adding new layers of knowledge and ability that move you closer to your highest potential. When you stop learning, you stop growing. But when you choose to feed your mind daily, you set yourself on a path of endless expansion. The truth is, the world is constantly changing, and those who adapt through learning are the ones who thrive. Every new technology, every shift in the economy, every challenge in society rewards the individual who has sharpened their skills and stayed curious. Think of how many careers have been built or lost, depending on whether someone stayed relevant by upgrading themselves. Learning daily is not just a luxury, it is survival in a world that never stands still. But beyond survival, there is empowerment. Each time you learn a skill, you gain a new tool for solving problems and creating opportunities. The ability to communicate better, to manage your emotions, to understand technology, to master a craft, these are doors to possibilities that remain locked for those who choose comfort over growth. Imagine the power of stacking new abilities one on top of another, day after day, until you have built a foundation that no setback can take away from you. Skills cannot be stolen. They stay with you forever and continue to produce value in every area of life. Daily learning does not have to mean formal education or hours of study. It can be as simple as reading a few pages of a book, watching a meaningful tutorial, practicing a language for 15 minutes, or experimenting with something new in your routine. What matters most is not the quantity of time, but the consistency of effort. Small doses of daily practice create compounding results that are far greater than occasional bursts of effort. Even 15 minutes a day over a year equals more than 90 hours of focused growth. Time that can make you proficient in a completely new skill. When you develop the habit of learning daily, you train your mind to stay sharp and flexible. You build mental agility that allows you to adapt quickly, think critically, and approach problems from multiple angles. This mental flexibility becomes one of your greatest assets in a world where change is constant. The more skills you acquire, the more confident you become in your ability to handle uncertainty. Confidence is not built on blind optimism, but on knowing you have the tools to figure things out. The process of learning new skills also fuels self-respect. Each day you learn something, you prove to yourself that you are capable of growth. You no longer see yourself as limited, but as someone who can stretch and evolve beyond current boundaries. This shift in identity changes how you carry yourself, how you make decisions, and how others perceive you. People naturally respect those who are knowledgeable, curious, and committed to improvement, and doors open when you project that energy. Daily learning also builds resilience. Life will always bring obstacles, but skills give you the ability to respond instead of crumble. If you learn problem solving, you won't feel trapped by setbacks. If you learn financial literacy, you won't feel helpless in economic struggles. If you learn communication, you won't feel powerless in relationships. Every skill you master removes a layer of fear and replaces it with strength. Resilience is not about avoiding challenges, it is about equipping yourself to handle them with competence. One of the greatest mistakes people make is thinking they must master a skill before it is useful. The truth is, even small levels of ability can create massive change. Knowing a little more about health helps you live better. Learning basic financial principles helps you save more effectively. Practicing a few minutes of public speaking builds confidence for future opportunities. Growth is not about perfection, but progress, and even partial knowledge adds value to your life and those around you. The key to expanding your potential through daily learning is to be intentional with what you study. Not all skills are equal, and not all information serves your growth. Choose skills that align with your goals, your values, and the kind of life you want to build. If your dream is to start a business, focus on communication, leadership, and marketing. If your goal is personal peace, learn mindfulness, emotional regulation, and perspective. If you want freedom, study finances, productivity, and adaptability. The direction of your learning matters as much as the consistency. Another powerful truth is that learning is not only about knowledge, but also about practice. Too many people consume information but never apply it, which leads to no real transformation. The best way to learn is by doing. Practice the language you study. Apply the strategies you read. Use the tools you discover. Each time you act on what you've learned, the skill becomes a part of you. Without action, knowledge stays as theory, but with practice, it becomes wisdom. Surrounding yourself with the right environment also accelerates learning. When you spend time with people who challenge you, teach you, and inspire you, you naturally grow faster. Conversations with the right individuals can teach you more than weeks of study. Seek mentors, join communities, and place yourself in situations where you are constantly exposed to new ideas and perspectives. Growth is contagious, and being in the right environment will raise your standards of what you think is possible. Learning new skills daily is also about humility. It requires admitting that you do not know everything and that there is always more to discover. Humility keeps you open, curious, and teachable. Pride closes the door to growth, but humility ensures it stays wide open. The wisest people are not those who claim to know it all, but those who recognize that learning never ends. Each day becomes an opportunity to refine, improve, and become stronger than yesterday. The commitment to daily learning is an act of self-respect, discipline, and vision. It is saying to yourself, I will not remain the same. I will expand. I will prepare myself for greater opportunities. Over time, the results of this discipline are undeniable. You will find yourself capable of things you once thought were impossible. You will face challenges with more confidence. You will earn trust, respect, and influence because of the wisdom and skills you bring to the table. Most importantly, you will experience the joy of growth itself. There is deep satisfaction in knowing you are moving forward, that you are not wasting your days, but investing them in becoming the best version of yourself. Learning daily keeps life exciting, purposeful, and full of possibility. It gives each day meaning, because you are not just living, you are evolving. Your potential is not fixed. It grows with each skill you acquire, each new idea you absorb, and each practice you apply. By choosing to learn daily, you break free from limitations and step into a life of endless expansion. The small moments of study, practice, and curiosity may not look impressive to others, but they are shaping a future far greater than you can imagine. Every skill is a brick, and each day of learning is another piece of the foundation. The stronger the foundation, the higher you can build. Your life can only rise to the level of the skills you choose to master, and the time to start is now. One day, one skill, one step closer to the person you are meant to become. Chapter 10. Remove distractions that weaken focus and reduce productivity. If you want to achieve more in your life, the first battle you must win is against the distractions that constantly steal your time, energy, and attention. Every dream, every goal, and every breakthrough requires focus, and without protecting that focus, you will always feel like you are working hard, but going nowhere. The truth is, most people are not failing because they lack ability, but because their attention is scattered and wasted on things that do not matter. When you learn to remove distractions, you unlock the power to concentrate fully on the actions that move your life forward. Distractions today are more dangerous than ever. They come from the endless notifications on your phone, the constant noise of social media, the never-ending stream of entertainment, and even the small habits of procrastination that creep into your daily routine. These may feel harmless in the moment, but over time they eat away at your discipline and productivity. A few minutes lost to scrolling, a few more lost to meaningless conversations, and suddenly hours are gone that could have been invested in building your future. If you do not take control of your environment and your habits, distractions will take control of you. The first step to removing distractions is awareness. You cannot fight what you do not see. Pay close attention to how you spend your time each day. Notice the activities that drain your energy without giving you anything valuable in return. Recognize the patterns that pull you away from meaningful work. Once you become aware, you can begin to cut out or reduce what weakens your focus. Awareness brings responsibility, and responsibility gives you power. Another powerful step is setting clear boundaries for yourself. This means creating rules that protect your time and energy. It could be turning off unnecessary notifications, setting specific hours for focused work, or creating a quiet environment free from interruptions. Boundaries are not restrictions, they are shields that guard your attention so you can use it wisely. Without boundaries, you will always be vulnerable to whatever pulls at you in the moment. With boundaries, you take back control. You also need to understand that not all distractions are external. Many come from within, in the form of restless thoughts, lack of clarity, or constant multitasking. Training your mind to stay present is just as important as removing outside triggers. When you find your focus drifting, practice bringing your attention back to the task at hand. The ability to redirect your mind is a skill that strengthens with practice, and over time, it becomes second nature. Distractions often hide in the form of comfort. It feels easier to check your messages than to do deep work. It feels easier to watch videos than to practice discipline. The problem is that comfort today often leads to regret tomorrow. If you want a life of meaning and success, you must learn to choose growth over ease, discipline over indulgence, and focus over fleeting pleasure. Every time you resist a distraction, you strengthen your willpower, and every time you give in, you weaken it. One of the most effective ways to reduce distractions is to simplify your environment. The fewer unnecessary items, noises, and temptations around you, the easier it becomes to focus. A cluttered space leads to a cluttered mind, while a clean and intentional space supports clarity and concentration. Design your surroundings in a way that reminds you of your goals and keeps your attention where it belongs. It is also important to prioritize your tasks. Many distractions take hold simply because you have not decided what matters most. When you start each day with a clear plan, distractions lose their power. By knowing your top priorities, you train your mind to focus on what truly counts instead of chasing whatever appears in the moment. Clarity creates direction, and direction protects your focus. Your relationships also play a role in distractions. If you constantly surround yourself with people who waste time or pull you into unproductive habits, you will struggle to stay disciplined. Choose to spend more time with those who respect your focus and support your growth. Communicate your boundaries clearly so others know when you need uninterrupted time. Respecting your own focus will teach others to respect it as well. Rest is another hidden factor in overcoming distractions. When you are tired or burned out, your mind naturally seeks escape in easy distractions. Proper sleep, exercise, and nutrition strengthen your ability to concentrate for long periods. Productivity is not about pushing yourself endlessly. It is about creating the energy and clarity to work with intensity when it matters. When your body and mind are cared for, distractions lose their grip. Technology can be both your greatest ally and your biggest enemy. Use it with intention. Leverage tools that help you stay organized, track progress and build habits, but stay vigilant against the endless traps of entertainment and mindless consumption. Technology is a tool, not a master. The moment you allow it to control your time, it steals the very resource you can never get back, your attention. Discipline grows each time you choose to remove a distraction and focus on what is important. At first, it may feel uncomfortable, but as you build consistency, it becomes your natural way of living. Each day you resist distractions, you sharpen your focus. Each week you protect your time, you make measurable progress. Over months and years, this discipline compounds into achievements that once seemed out of reach. The reward for removing distractions is not just productivity, but peace of mind. You no longer live in constant stress, feeling behind on everything. You no longer waste energy on things that do not matter. Instead, you live with intention, clarity, and purpose. You know where your time is going, and you see the results of your focused effort. This peace is priceless, and it is available to anyone willing to take control of their attention. Success belongs to those who learn to focus deeply on what matters and ignore what does not. Every hour you spend distracted is an hour you never get back. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you invest in a future that is stronger, brighter, and more fulfilling. Remove what weakens you, protect what strengthens you, and you will discover how much you are truly capable of achieving when your energy is no longer wasted. The choice is always in your hands. You can either remain at the mercy of distractions, constantly pulled in different directions, or you can decide to reclaim your focus and use it to build the life you desire. If you want to see real results, protect your attention as the most valuable resource you have. Success demands focus, and focus requires removing distractions. The moment you commit to this, your productivity will rise, your discipline will grow, and your goals will begin to come alive before your eyes. Chapter 11. Build routines that align with long-term vision and purpose. The strength of your future is determined by the routines you build today, because what you repeat each day creates the foundation for the life you are moving toward. Success is not the result of one big moment or a single lucky break, but the product of consistent actions aligned with a clear vision and purpose. If your routines are weak, your life will feel directionless. But if your routines are strong and intentional, you create momentum that carries you toward long-term success without constant struggle. When you think about the kind of life you want to build, it is easy to imagine the end result but forget about the process. A fulfilling career, financial freedom, strong health, or meaningful relationships do not appear out of nowhere. They are the outcome of small daily disciplines. This is why routines matter so much. They are the bridge between where you are and where you want to go. Without them, your goals remain dreams. With them, your goals become inevitable. Building routines that align with your vision requires clarity. You must first know what you want in the long run. Do you want to be healthier? Then your routines must support nutrition, exercise, and rest. Do you want financial independence? Then your routines must support saving, learning, and building skills. Do you want peace of mind? Then your routines must include reflection, gratitude, and intentional living. Every action you repeat must serve a greater purpose, otherwise it is wasted energy. The problem many people face is that their routines are built by accident. They wake up without intention, go through the day reacting to everything around them, and end the day wondering why nothing has changed. Over time, those accidental routines create habits that pull them further from their goals instead of closer. To create a life of growth and achievement, you must design routines consciously, ensuring they match your vision instead of working against it. Start by identifying the key areas of your life that need structure. Morning is often the most powerful place to begin. The way you start your day sets the tone for everything that follows. A morning routine built around clarity, discipline, and preparation gives you control before the world can distract you. Instead of scrolling through your phone or rushing in chaos, use that time to focus your mind, strengthen your body, and set priorities. That one choice changes the entire direction of your day. Equally important is how you end your day. A nightly routine of reflection, gratitude, and preparation allows you to close the day with peace and enter the next one with intention. Reviewing what you accomplished, recognizing what you can improve, and organizing tomorrow's priorities creates a cycle of progress that builds week after week. Small rituals at the end of the day reinforce discipline and prevent wasted time. Routines also protect you from relying on motivation alone. Motivation is temporary, it comes and goes depending on mood and circumstance. But routines remove the need to decide every time. They turn important actions into automatic behaviors. When something becomes part of your routine, it no longer depends on how you feel, it simply gets done. This is how discipline is built and how consistency is maintained. A powerful routine must also be realistic. It is not about overloading yourself with too many rules, but about choosing a few key practices that bring the greatest impact. The danger of trying to do everything at once is that you burn out and quit. Instead, focus on adding routines gradually, ensuring each one supports your bigger purpose. Progress comes from sustainability, not perfection. When building routines, it is helpful to connect them directly to your vision. Each action should remind you why it matters. If you exercise in the morning, see it as an investment in your future health. If you set aside time for learning, see it as a step toward financial freedom. When your routines are tied to meaning, they are easier to stick to because they are no longer chores, they are commitments to your future self. The discipline of routines also creates freedom. Many people resist structure because they think it feels restrictive, but the truth is that routines eliminate chaos. When you know what needs to be done and when, you free yourself from stress, indecision, and wasted time. Instead of being trapped by randomness, you create space for what truly matters. Freedom does not come from doing whatever you feel like, it comes from building the systems that give you control. You will face resistance when building routines. Your mind will look for comfort and try to convince you to delay. This is why commitment is essential. At the beginning, it takes effort to establish new patterns, but once those patterns are set, they require less energy to maintain. The struggle is temporary, but the rewards are long-lasting. Every day you stick to your routine, you reinforce the identity of someone who is disciplined and intentional. It is also important to regularly review your routines. As your goals evolve, your routines must evolve too. What worked for you a year ago may no longer serve your purpose today. Reflection allows you to adjust, remove what no longer matters, and add new practices that move you forward. Flexibility ensures your routines stay aligned with your vision instead of becoming empty habits. The impact of strong routines goes beyond productivity. They influence your mindset, your confidence, and your overall quality of life. When you follow routines that serve your purpose, you feel more in control, less stressed, and more fulfilled. Each day becomes part of a bigger journey, and you gain the satisfaction of knowing that your actions are leading you somewhere meaningful. Over time, the compounding effect of routines is extraordinary. A small daily action may feel insignificant in the moment, but repeated consistently, it transforms your life. Reading for 20 minutes a day builds wisdom that separates you from the average. Exercising daily creates health that protects you for decades. Saving a small amount consistently creates financial security. Success is rarely dramatic. It is the quiet accumulation of routines carried out with discipline. Your routines are a reflection of your priorities. If your time is spent on distractions, your routines will pull you away from your purpose. But if your time is invested in actions that serve your vision, your routines will carry you toward the life you desire. Every morning and evening is a chance to decide what kind of person you are becoming. Do not underestimate the power of structure. Even the most talented individuals fail without discipline, while ordinary people achieve extraordinary results with strong routines. The difference is not ability, but consistency. The one who aligns daily actions with long-term goals will always outlast the one who lives without order. You have the power to design your routines with intention starting today. Choose the practices that strengthen your body, sharpen your mind, and feed your purpose. Protect those practices as non-negotiable. Let them shape your days, your weeks, and your years. The future you dream of will not arrive by chance. It will be built by the small routines you commit to now. If you want a life of vision and purpose, build the structure today that will carry you into tomorrow. Chapter 12. Replace limiting beliefs with empowering thoughts for success. The biggest barrier to your success is not your circumstances, your past, or the people around you. It is the beliefs you hold about yourself. What you believe shapes what you attempt, what you tolerate, and what you expect from life. If you hold limiting beliefs, you unconsciously restrict your potential. But the moment you replace those beliefs with empowering thoughts, everything changes. You no longer see obstacles as walls, but as challenges you can overcome, and you begin to move forward with strength and certainty. Limiting beliefs often take root quietly. They are formed from past experiences, the words of others, or moments of failure that you allowed to define your identity. Thoughts like, "I'm not smart enough," "I don't deserve success," or "it's too late for me," create invisible chains. They stop you from pursuing opportunities and make you settle for less than you're capable of. The tragedy is not that these beliefs exist, but that many people accept them as truth without ever questioning them. To break free, you must challenge every belief that holds you back. Ask yourself, is this thought a fact, or is it simply a story I've been repeating? More often than not, limiting beliefs are nothing but assumptions you've carried for years. Once you expose them, you take away their power. Success begins with the courage to question the voice in your head that says, "You can't." Replacing limiting beliefs with empowering thoughts does not happen overnight, but it is a deliberate process. It starts with awareness. Pay attention to the words you use when talking about yourself. Do you constantly say, "I'm not good at this," or "I always fail"? Each of those statements reinforces a false identity. Instead of repeating defeat, begin affirming growth. "I'm learning, I'm improving, I'm capable of more than I realize." These small shifts in language gradually reshape your beliefs. Empowering thoughts are not about blind positivity. They are about aligning your mind with possibility and growth. When you replace "I can't" with "I will figure it out," you shift from helplessness to resourcefulness. When you replace "I always fail" with "I'm still progressing," you move from discouragement to persistence. These new beliefs become fuel that drives your actions. They push you to keep going when others quit and to see opportunities where others only see limits. Another way to replace limiting beliefs is to look for evidence of success in your own life. Reflect on the times when you overcame challenges, learned new skills, or achieved goals you once thought were impossible. Each memory proves that you are stronger and more capable than your doubts suggest. Use those experiences as reminders that you have the ability to grow beyond your current limitations. Surrounding yourself with the right influences also plays a critical role. If you spend time with people who reinforce your doubts, your limiting beliefs will grow stronger. But if you spend time with people who encourage you, challenge you, and show you what's possible, your mindset will shift. The environment you choose either feeds your fears or feeds your confidence. Protect it carefully, because it determines the thoughts you reinforce daily. Consistency is key when creating empowering beliefs. It is not enough to think positively once. You must train your mind to see possibility repeatedly. Just like exercising your body builds strength, exercising your mind builds resilience. Daily affirmations, journaling your progress, or visualizing your success are tools that help you replace old patterns with new ones. The more you practice, the more natural these empowering thoughts become. One of the most powerful empowering beliefs you can adopt is that growth is always possible. Too many people believe they are fixed, that their intelligence, abilities, or circumstances cannot change. But when you embrace the belief that you can always learn, improve, and evolve, you free yourself from limitations. Every setback becomes a lesson, every challenge becomes an opportunity, and every effort becomes an investment in your future. Fear often hides behind limiting beliefs. The fear of failure, the fear of rejection, and the fear of judgment convince you to stay small. But empowering thoughts remind you that fear is not a signal to stop. It is a sign that you are growing beyond your comfort zone. The more you embrace empowering beliefs, the less control fear has over your decisions. You begin to act in spite of fear, and with each step forward, your confidence expands. Replacing limiting beliefs also requires patience. You cannot expect to undo years of negative conditioning overnight. But each time you interrupt a limiting thought and replace it with an empowering one, you weaken the old pattern. Over weeks and months, the old beliefs lose their hold, and the new ones take root. Change may feel slow at first, but consistency always produces transformation. Empowering thoughts are not just about personal confidence. They influence your results in every area of life. When you believe you can learn, you study harder. When you believe you can achieve, you take bold action. When you believe you are worthy of success, you stop settling for less. Beliefs shape behavior, and behavior shapes outcomes. By changing your beliefs, you ultimately change your reality. Imagine the difference between someone who believes I'll never succeed and someone who believes I am capable of creating success, step by step. The first person avoids opportunities, gives up quickly, and blames circumstances. The second person seeks opportunities, learns from mistakes, and persists until they succeed. Both face challenges, but their beliefs dictate how they respond. The empowering mindset always wins in the long run. To build empowering beliefs, focus on progress instead of perfection. You do not need to be flawless to be successful. You simply need to keep moving forward. A belief in progress keeps you motivated even when the road feels long. It reminds you that small improvements compound into massive results over time. When you stop demanding perfection and start celebrating progress, you build momentum that cannot be stopped. Another essential empowering belief is that setbacks are temporary, not permanent. Too many people turn one failure into a lifelong label. They fail once and declare themselves a failure. But empowering thoughts remind you that failure is feedback, not identity. Every successful person has failed repeatedly, but they kept going because they believed in their potential. Adopt the same mindset, and you will keep moving no matter what obstacles appear. The ultimate shift happens when you realize that you are not a prisoner of your past beliefs. You can choose new ones at any moment. You can decide today to stop telling yourself you are unworthy, unlucky, or incapable. You can decide today to embrace thoughts of strength, worthiness, and ability. Every empowering belief you adopt builds a stronger version of yourself and moves you closer to success. The transformation begins when you take responsibility for the stories you tell yourself. You are not your doubts. You are not your fears. You are not your past mistakes. You are the thinker behind the thoughts, and you have the power to change them. If you feed your mind with strength, you will act with strength. If you feed your mind with belief, you will act with belief. Replace the thoughts that limit you with thoughts that empower you. Replace fear with courage, doubt with confidence, and weakness with resilience. Success is not reserved for a select few. It belongs to those who are willing to believe differently about themselves. The moment you shift your beliefs, you open the door to opportunities that were always there, waiting for you to see them. The only question left is whether you will hold on to the chains of limitation or step into the freedom of empowerment. Chapter 13. Strengthen patience by trusting progress over instant results. True success belongs to those who understand the power of patience and the wisdom of trusting steady progress instead of craving instant results. In a world where everything seems to move faster, where people expect immediate gratification, you must set yourself apart by building the ability to wait, to endure, and to stay consistent long enough for your hard work to bear fruit. When you learn to strengthen patience, you develop an inner stability that keeps you calm while others rush, panic, or quit halfway through their journey. Impatience is one of the biggest reasons people abandon their goals. They want fast results, and when progress feels slow, they assume it is not working. But growth does not follow a straight line. Progress is gradual, often invisible at first, but every effort you put in is shaping the future you desire. Think about how small daily improvements add up over time. One healthy meal may not transform your body, but months of consistent healthy choices will. One day of practice may not make you an expert, but years of steady learning will make you skilled. Patience allows you to trust this process without constantly questioning whether your work is worth it. Strengthening patience begins with shifting your mindset. Instead of asking, "How long will it take?" start asking, "How far can I go if I don't stop?" That simple change in perspective removes the pressure of time and keeps your attention on the value of consistency. When you stop obsessing over quick outcomes, you free yourself to focus on the habits and actions that actually create success. Another part of patience is learning to resist comparison. When you look at others who seem to move faster, you may feel behind, but their journey is not yours. Everyone grows at a different pace, and what matters is staying committed to your own path. Trust that your progress, no matter how slow it feels, is preparing you for long-term achievement. Patience is not passive. It is an active decision to keep going even when the results are not yet visible. Building patience requires self-discipline. It means choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term comfort. For example, saving money instead of spending it all today requires patience to trust that your financial discipline will pay off in the future. Exercising regularly requires patience to believe that your health will improve with time. Learning a new skill requires patience to accept that you will be clumsy in the beginning, but capable later. Each of these choices strengthens your ability to wait, to persist, and to remain steady in the pursuit of something meaningful. One of the most powerful ways to grow patience is to measure progress differently. Instead of looking only at big milestones, notice the small signs of improvement along the way. Maybe you can focus longer than before, lift more weight than last week, or speak more confidently than you once did. These little victories are proof that growth is happening. When you recognize them, you build faith in the process and reduce the urge to demand instant results. Patience also teaches resilience. Life will not always go according to your timeline. Delays, setbacks, and obstacles will appear, but patience allows you to keep moving without giving up. When you trust the process, you understand that setbacks are not the end. They are simply part of the journey. Instead of quitting when results take longer, you adjust, you learn, and you continue. This ability to stay hale under pressure separates those who succeed from those who quit too early. It is important to remember that patience is not the same as waiting passively. Patience is active perseverance. It means continuing to put in the work while trusting that results will come in their time. A patient person does not sit back and hope. They keep showing up, day after day, with the belief that consistent action always creates growth. This is the discipline of progress. You keep moving even when the reward is not immediate. To strengthen patience, you must also master your emotions. Impatience often comes from frustration, doubt, or fear that things are not working. But when you calm your mind and remind yourself that progress takes time, you replace frustration with trust. This emotional stability allows you to stay focused while others lose motivation. Patience protects your energy, helping you remain committed without being drained by anxiety or stress. Another powerful aspect of patience is learning to enjoy the process itself. When you only care about the final result, waiting feels unbearable. But when you appreciate the journey, every lesson learned, every skill improved, every small step forward, you no longer feel desperate for instant success. You find satisfaction in progress itself. This mindset makes patience easier because you are not just waiting for results, you are already growing along the way. Patience also creates confidence. When you know that you are capable of staying the course, you no longer panic at temporary setbacks. You trust yourself to endure, to adapt, and to continue until the outcome arrives. This inner confidence makes you more powerful than any quick result ever could. Fast success may feel good, but lasting success belongs to those who have the strength to stay patient. Strengthening patience is also about trusting timing. Some opportunities take time to develop. Some goals require years of preparation before they become real. By forcing everything to happen instantly, you risk cutting short the very growth you need. Patience ensures that when the right moment comes, you are ready for it. You are not rushing into opportunities unprepared. You are building yourself steadily, so when success arrives, you can handle it fully. If you want to strengthen patience, practice it daily in small ways. Slow down when you eat, instead of rushing through meals. Wait calmly in traffic instead of growing frustrated. Stick to your daily goals, even when you feel like skipping them. These simple practices train your mind to stay steady under pressure. Over time, this discipline translates into bigger areas of life, helping you stay patient in your career, relationships, and personal growth. When you strengthen patience, you gain freedom. You no longer feel pressured by unrealistic deadlines or controlled by the need for quick gratification. Instead, you live with a calm confidence that everything worthwhile takes time. You stop chasing shortcuts and start trusting the power of consistency. This gives you a deep sense of peace and determination, allowing you to build success on a foundation that lasts. The truth is that instant results are often shallow and temporary, while slow and steady progress creates permanent change. A patient mindset ensures that your success is not just fast, it is meaningful, stable, and lasting. By trusting progress over instant gratification, you give yourself the chance to grow fully, to learn deeply, and to achieve in a way that can never be taken away. Strengthen patience today by choosing to believe in the process. Keep showing up, keep doing the work, and keep trusting that every step matters. Progress may not always be visible, but it is always happening. The ones who succeed are not the ones who rush ahead and burn out. They are the ones who stay steady, patient, and committed until the results arrive. Your future will reward your patience, and your success will reflect the strength you built by waiting, trusting, and persevering. Chapter 14. Create discipline by committing to promises you make yourself. Discipline begins the moment you decide to keep every promise you make to yourself and refuse to allow excuses to interfere with your growth. The most important commitments you will ever make are the ones you give to yourself, because they shape the habits, behaviors, and character that define your life. Every time you follow through on a personal promise, you strengthen your self-respect, build trust in your own abilities, and create momentum that propels you toward meaningful success. The power of discipline is not about harsh rules or external pressure. It is about honoring your word consistently, even when it feels difficult. Many people fail to develop true discipline because they underestimate the importance of self-commitment. It is easy to make promises to others, but promises to yourself are often neglected. You may say, "I will exercise," or "I will focus on my goals," yet allow distractions, laziness, or doubt to pull you off course. Each unkept promise weakens your self-control and erodes your confidence. Discipline is built not in grand gestures, but in the small acts of integrity that accumulate over time. Creating discipline starts with clarity. You must know what you are promising yourself and why it matters. Ambiguous commitments like "I'll try harder" are meaningless. Instead, define precise actions such as "I will write for 30 minutes every morning," or "I will walk 10,000 steps daily." When your promises are specific, measurable, and actionable, your mind knows exactly what to follow through on, and accountability becomes easier. Consistency is the backbone of discipline. It is not about occasional effort or bursts of motivation. It is about repeated action. Even when you do not feel like it, honoring your promises trains your brain to recognize that you are reliable and capable. Each day that you keep your word to yourself reinforces your identity as a disciplined individual. Over time, these small victories compound into unwavering self-control and a life built on intentional action. Resistance is inevitable when committing to yourself. Your mind will generate excuses, distractions will appear, and emotions will fluctuate. This is the test of discipline, the ability to persist despite discomfort, laziness, or doubt. The more you confront these challenges, the stronger your self-discipline becomes. Discipline is strengthened not when things are easy, but when you persevere despite difficulty. To create discipline, it is essential to track and evaluate your progress. Reflecting on whether you are keeping your promises allows you to identify patterns, recognize areas for improvement, and celebrate your consistency. Journaling your commitments and noting when you succeed or fall short creates accountability to yourself. Awareness of your actions builds self-mastery because you cannot improve what you do not measure. It is also important to start small. Trying to overhaul your entire life at once often leads to burnout and failure. Focus on a few key commitments that will have the most significant impact and honor them daily. As you build confidence in keeping these promises, gradually expand your commitments. Discipline grows through progressive action, and each small success lays the foundation for larger victories. Discipline is reinforced by understanding the consequences of breaking promises to yourself. When you fail to act consistently, you erode trust in your own abilities. This loss of confidence leads to procrastination, self-doubt, and stagnation. Recognizing that every broken promise weakens your potential provides the motivation to act consistently. The more you honor your commitments, the stronger your character becomes, and the more capable you are of achieving meaningful goals. Another key factor in building discipline is accountability. While the primary responsibility lies with you, external support can enhance consistency. Share your commitments with someone who will encourage you and check on your progress. Knowing that someone else is aware of your promises adds an additional layer of motivation and reduces the likelihood of neglect. Accountability does not replace self-discipline, it strengthens it. Discipline also thrives on routine. When you integrate your promises into daily practices, following through becomes automatic rather than optional. Habits are the infrastructure of discipline, and the more structured your day is around fulfilling your commitments, the less room there is for failure. Designing your environment to support your promises ensures that your discipline is not constantly tested by unnecessary friction or distractions. Self-discipline is a reflection of self-respect. Every promise you honor signals to yourself that your goals, time, and potential matter. It creates a sense of integrity that cannot be taken away. When you respect your own word, others naturally begin to respect you as well. Discipline is the bridge between intention and achievement, and it begins with the simple yet profound act of keeping your promises. Forgiveness also plays a role in building long-term discipline. There will be times when you fail to follow through. Instead of allowing guilt or shame to derail your progress, acknowledge the lapse, understand the reason behind it, and recommit immediately. True discipline is not about perfection, it is about persistence. The ability to recover and keep moving forward is what separates those who succeed from those who quit. A disciplined mindset views every promise as an opportunity to strengthen personal power. Completing a task you committed to yourself, no matter how small, reinforces confidence and mental resilience. This momentum compounds over time, and the consistent reinforcement of your own reliability creates an unstoppable force that drives success in all areas of life. Discipline becomes not a burden, but a defining feature of your identity. Every day offers countless opportunities to exercise discipline. Following through on your commitments to health, learning, relationships, or career adds up in ways that dramatically shape your life. One missed opportunity may seem minor, but one day of consistent action moves you closer to your goals. The key is understanding that discipline is cumulative. Small decisions, repeated daily, build the structure for extraordinary outcomes. Creating discipline requires vision. Know what you want to achieve and why it matters. The greater the purpose behind your commitments, the easier it is to honor them consistently. When your promises are aligned with meaningful objectives, following through becomes less about obligation and more about dedication to your future self. Every choice to keep your word becomes an investment in the person you are becoming. Discipline also demands patience and persistence. Results do not appear immediately, but each act of consistency lays the groundwork for success. The person who persists in keeping their promises, even when results are not yet visible, is the one who achieves lasting success. Short-term frustration is the price for long-term growth. And every promise kept is a step closer to mastery over yourself and your circumstances. The ultimate power of committing to yourself is freedom. When you consistently honor your word, you no longer need external validation to stay on track. You develop an inner compass that guides every action, and your choices are no longer swayed by distraction, fear, or temptation. Freedom comes from knowing that you can rely on yourself, and this self-reliance creates confidence, independence, and strength. Every promise you make and keep strengthens your discipline and your ability to achieve. Discipline is not something you are born with. It is something you cultivate intentionally by honoring your commitments daily. The moment you decide to treat every promise as sacred, you take control of your habits, your actions, and ultimately your life. The life you desire is built one promise at a time, and the strength to achieve it comes from the unwavering consistency of following through on the commitments you make to yourself. Chapter 15. Improve self-awareness by reflecting daily on your actions. The The most powerful growth comes when you take the time to truly understand yourself and reflect on your actions every single day. Self-awareness is not just knowing your strengths or weaknesses. It is the deliberate practice of examining how your choices, behaviors, and habits shape the person you are becoming. Without reflection, you drift through life reacting to circumstances instead of consciously steering your own path. When you commit to daily reflection, you gain clarity, insight, and the ability to make smarter decisions that align with your highest goals. Improving self-awareness starts with observing your behavior honestly. Take note of the decisions you make, the reactions you have, and the patterns that repeat in your life. Are your actions moving you toward your goals, or are they keeping you stuck? Honest evaluation is essential because it allows you to identify what works, what doesn't, and what needs to change. This is not about judgment, it is about seeing yourself clearly so you can act intentionally. Reflection helps you understand the why behind your behavior. Every action has a motivation, and understanding these motivations allows you to correct negative patterns and reinforce positive ones. Ask yourself questions like, why did I react that way? Or what triggered my frustration? When you dig into your reasoning, you discover insights about your beliefs, fears, and desires. This awareness is the foundation for meaningful self-improvement because you cannot change what you do not understand. To make reflection effective, set aside time each day to review your actions. It could be in the morning before the day begins, or in the evening before sleep. Writing down your thoughts in a journal strengthens the process by making your reflections tangible. Note what you accomplished, where you fell short, and how you responded to challenges. Tracking your actions daily provides a record of progress and a clear view of your behavioral patterns over time. Self-awareness is strengthened by focusing on both successes and mistakes. Celebrating your achievements reinforces behaviors that contribute to growth and confidence. At the same time, analyzing mistakes without judgment allows you to identify areas for improvement. Every error is a lesson if you are willing to reflect on it. This mindset turns setbacks into opportunities to develop deeper insight and refine your strategies. Reflection also improves emotional intelligence. By observing how your emotions influence your actions, you gain control over your responses rather than being controlled by them. For example, if you notice that stress leads you to procrastinate, you can implement strategies to manage stress more effectively. Awareness of emotional triggers and patterns gives you the ability to act with intentionality rather than impulsively, which strengthens your overall decision-making. Another aspect of self-awareness is understanding how you interact with others. Reflecting on your communication, behavior, and relationships reveals patterns that may be holding you back. Ask yourself if your words align with your intentions, if your actions support collaboration, and if you contribute positively to your environment. When you examine your social interactions, you gain insight into how others perceive you and how you can improve your influence and impact. Daily reflection also cultivates accountability. When you take the time to review your choices honestly, you hold yourself responsible for your actions instead of blaming external circumstances. Accountability strengthens character and empowers you to take control of your life. By accepting responsibility for both successes and failures, you create a foundation of integrity and self-trust that fuels future growth. To deepen self-awareness, practice asking probing questions during reflection. Explore your habits, motivations, and thought patterns. Questions like, what beliefs influenced my decision today? Or, did my actions reflect my values? Force you to examine the underlying causes of your behavior. The answers guide you toward conscious adjustments that align with your desired outcomes. Over time, these questions become a habit of mind, leading to continuous personal development. Reflection also helps identify blind spots. There are aspects of yourself that are difficult to see without intentional examination. Daily review exposes these blind spots, whether they are habits that limit your effectiveness, recurring emotional responses, or attitudes that create unnecessary conflict. Recognizing these hidden areas allows you to correct them before they become entrenched obstacles to your success. Incorporating reflection into your daily routine strengthens focus and clarity. By understanding your actions and their impact, you make decisions with purpose rather than reacting to distractions. Reflection allows you to prioritize tasks, align daily efforts with long-term goals, and avoid wasting energy on activities that do not contribute to growth. Clarity of action comes from clarity of thought, and reflection is the key to achieving that clarity. Self-awareness also enhances resilience. When you recognize your behavioral patterns, you can anticipate challenges and prepare responses in advance. Understanding how you typically react under pressure allows you to manage stress effectively and maintain composure. Reflection provides insight that enables you to navigate difficulties with wisdom, turning potential setbacks into learning experiences. The practice of reflecting daily also reinforces personal growth by showing incremental progress over time. When you review your actions regularly, you can see the small improvements that may be invisible in the moment. These gradual gains build confidence and motivate continued effort. Recognizing progress encourages consistency, and consistency is the foundation of lasting transformation. Reflection encourages humility and adaptability. By honestly assessing your actions, you accept that you are a work in progress. This awareness fosters openness to learning and growth. Humility allows you to acknowledge mistakes without shame, seek feedback from others, and adjust your strategies for better outcomes. Self-awareness is not static. It evolves as you continuously observe and refine your behavior. An essential part of improving self-awareness is linking actions to values. Reflect on whether your daily decisions reflect the principles and goals that matter most to you. If your actions are misaligned with your values, you create internal conflict that undermines progress. When your behavior consistently mirrors your core beliefs, you experience greater satisfaction, purpose, and effectiveness in every area of life. Daily reflection strengthens self-discipline. By analyzing your actions, you identify where you gave in to temptation, procrastination, or distraction. Awareness of these moments allows you to implement corrective strategies and avoid repeating the same mistakes. Over time, the practice of reflection creates a self-regulating mindset that anticipates challenges and responds with intentionality. Reflection also improves decision-making. When you review the consequences of your choices, you learn what works and what does not. This knowledge enables you to make better decisions in the future, reducing unnecessary errors and improving efficiency. A reflective mind considers both immediate and long-term impacts, leading to more strategic and effective action. The power of self-awareness is magnified when combined with goal setting. Reflecting on your actions in the context of your objectives reveals whether you are on track or need to adjust your approach. Daily reflection ensures alignment between effort and vision, keeping your path clear and purposeful. This alignment fosters confidence, reduces wasted effort, and accelerates progress toward your goals. To develop deep self-awareness, cultivate a mindset of curiosity rather than judgment. Approach reflection as an opportunity to learn about yourself, not as a way to criticize or condemn. Curiosity encourages honesty and openness, allowing you to uncover truths that may otherwise remain hidden. When you reflect with curiosity, every insight becomes actionable, and every lesson strengthens your capacity for growth. Ultimately, improving self-awareness through daily reflection empowers you to live intentionally. It transforms reactive behavior into proactive decision-making, strengthens emotional control, and enhances personal effectiveness. By dedicating time each day to examine your actions, motivations, and patterns, you build a foundation of insight that guides every choice, strengthens character, and accelerates success. The person who reflects daily understands themselves, steers their life with purpose, and continuously evolves into the best version of themselves. Chapter 16. Surround yourself with people who encourage growth and learning. The people you spend time with have more influence over your success than almost anything else in life, so choosing to surround yourself with those who encourage growth and learning is one of the most powerful decisions you can make. Every interaction, conversation, and shared experience shapes your mindset, your beliefs, and ultimately your actions. If you surround yourself with individuals who settle for mediocrity, complain constantly, or resist change, their energy and perspective will gradually pull you down. On the other hand, when you commit to being around those who inspire, challenge, and support your development, you accelerate your own progress and create a life filled with opportunity and purpose. Growth-focused people push you to expand your thinking and challenge your limitations. They do not allow you to stagnate or become complacent. Their curiosity, discipline, and commitment to personal development set a standard that influences your own behavior. Being in their presence encourages you to ask better questions, seek deeper knowledge, and act with more intention. Their mindset acts like a mirror, reflecting both your potential and the areas where you can improve. Choosing your circle carefully requires intentional evaluation. Examine your current relationships and ask whether they motivate you to be better, provide honest feedback, and celebrate your successes without jealousy. Identify which connections drain your energy or reinforce limiting beliefs. This process may be uncomfortable because it requires honest assessment and sometimes letting go of relationships that no longer serve your highest good. However, the freedom and clarity gained from cultivating a supportive network are worth the effort. Positive, growth-oriented people provide accountability. They notice when you fall short of your goals and encourage you to stay on track without judgment. They celebrate your progress, creating reinforcement that strengthens your confidence and determination. Accountability from others complements your internal drive and helps you maintain momentum during periods of challenge or distraction. When your circle is committed to mutual growth, it becomes easier to remain consistent in your own development. Being around learners also expands your perspective. Exposure to new ideas, different approaches, and diverse experiences challenges you to think critically and adapt. It prevents stagnation by constantly presenting opportunities to grow intellectually, emotionally, and professionally. People who prioritize learning often share resources, strategies, and insights that you would not encounter alone. This network of shared knowledge accelerates your ability to acquire skills and make informed decisions. Growth-focused individuals also inspire resilience. Observing how they handle setbacks, criticism, or obstacles teaches you the importance of perseverance. They model the mindset required to confront challenges without giving up. Their stories, advice, and example provide practical lessons in handling adversity while maintaining motivation and discipline. Being around people who exemplify resilience strengthens your own ability to overcome difficulties. Supportive peers enhance your emotional and mental health. Relationships built on encouragement, respect, and shared values provide a foundation of psychological safety that allows you to take risks and pursue ambitious goals. When you know others believe in your potential, you develop the courage to step outside your comfort zone and attempt new challenges. The energy of a positive environment fosters optimism, reduces self-doubt, and strengthens your sense of capability. To fully benefit from a growth-oriented circle, you must also contribute to the group. Relationships are reciprocal. Share your knowledge, provide encouragement, and celebrate the achievements of others. By actively supporting the growth of those around you, you reinforce your own habits of learning, leadership, and discipline. Mutual commitment to improvement creates a culture that continuously elevates everyone involved. Seek mentors and role models who have achieved what you aspire to. Their experience provides guidance, insight, and practical strategies for navigating challenges. Learning from someone who has successfully walked the path you desire reduces trial and error, accelerates progress, and provides a blueprint for success. Mentorship also demonstrates the value of humility and openness to learning from those with more experience. Investing time in communities that foster learning is equally important. Attend seminars, workshops, or discussion groups where ideas are exchanged and growth is prioritized. Engaging with diverse thinkers exposes you to perspectives beyond your immediate circle and encourages innovation. Communities focused on development provide a structured environment where learning is the norm and progress is expected. Avoid negative influences deliberately. People who constantly complain, criticize without offering solutions, or resist change create mental and emotional friction. Their energy consumes focus, reduces motivation, and reinforces limiting beliefs. Recognize when relationships are toxic or unproductive, and be willing to step back. Protecting your mental and emotional space ensures that your growth is not compromised. Growth-oriented relationships thrive on communication and feedback. Encourage honest dialogue where ideas, strategies, and behaviors can be discussed openly. Constructive feedback helps you identify blind spots, refine your actions, and recognize opportunities for improvement. Surrounding yourself with individuals who can give clear, actionable input fosters accountability and accelerates your personal development. Another benefit of surrounding yourself with learners is exposure to diverse skills and experiences. Every person brings unique knowledge, expertise, and perspectives that you can learn from. Observing how they solve problems, approach challenges, or innovate inspires creativity in your own life. The collective wisdom of a growth-focused network becomes a resource that you can tap into continuously. Positive social influence also strengthens habits. Being around disciplined, motivated individuals makes it easier to adopt productive routines and maintain focus. Energy and behavior are contagious. Consistency in your circle encourages consistency in yourself. When high standards are normalized, maintaining your own discipline feels natural and achievable rather than burdensome. Strong growth networks also foster long-term vision. Conversations and shared goals with forward-thinking people expand your perspective beyond immediate concerns. They encourage you to consider the future implications of your actions and think strategically about your development. This guidance aligns your daily efforts with broader life objectives, creating cohesion between short-term action and long-term success. Engagement with people who value growth reinforces confidence. When your circle celebrates effort and achievement, you internalize the belief that progress is possible. Positive reinforcement motivates continued effort, strengthens resolve, and reduces self-doubt. Confidence grows naturally when you are supported by individuals who consistently see and recognize your potential. Learning from failures together is also critical. In a growth-oriented environment, setbacks are discussed openly, analyzed objectively, and used as opportunities for improvement. Observing how others extract lessons from failure teaches practical strategies for handling adversity and encourages a mindset that sees mistakes as tools for growth rather than reasons to quit. Being intentional with your network creates a multiplier effect in your life. The collective energy, knowledge, and encouragement from a circle of growth-oriented people elevates your performance, mindset, and habits. It accelerates your learning curve, strengthens resilience, and fosters a mindset that continuously seeks improvement. The right people can transform ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Finally, commit to revisiting your network regularly. Relationships evolve, and people grow in different directions. Continuously seek out those who embody the qualities you aspire to and nurture connections that inspire learning and development. Surrounding yourself with individuals who encourage growth is not a one-time decision. It is a lifestyle choice that requires attention, reflection, and intentional action. Choosing the right people around you determines the speed, quality, and sustainability of your success. Growth-focused relationships amplify motivation, knowledge, and resilience, while minimizing distractions, negativity, and stagnation. By surrounding yourself with individuals who encourage learning and self-improvement, you create an environment where excellence is the standard, continuous development is expected, and achieving your highest potential becomes inevitable. Chapter 17. Track progress daily to stay motivated and consistent. Progress is only real when it is measured, tracked, and reflected upon consistently, and tracking your daily actions is the secret to staying motivated and maintaining unwavering consistency. Without a clear record of what you do each day, it is easy to overestimate your efforts, lose focus, and allow momentum to slip away. Daily tracking transforms abstract goals into concrete steps, providing clarity on where you stand and what needs attention. It ensures that every action you take contributes purposefully to your larger vision and prevents wasted energy on ineffective habits. Tracking progress begins with defining measurable actions. Vague intentions like work harder or improve have no practical reference point. Instead, identify specific actionable metrics that reflect your daily effort, such as hours spent on skill development, tasks completed toward a project, or consistent practice of a habit. When you quantify your actions, your progress becomes visible, and each day provides clear feedback about your performance. This clarity strengthens focus and reinforces the habit of consistent effort. The process of daily tracking builds accountability. When you log what you accomplish, you hold yourself responsible for your commitments. Awareness of what you have done and what remains unfinished creates a natural drive to stay on course. Each day becomes a challenge to maintain consistency, and the accumulation of small victories reinforces confidence and self-discipline. Accountability to yourself is far more powerful than relying solely on motivation because it creates a reliable system for action regardless of mood or circumstance. Tracking also provides motivation by showing tangible results. Many people become discouraged when progress feels slow or invisible, but recording daily actions makes growth undeniable. Even minor improvements, when consistently noted, become evidence of forward movement. Seeing a pattern of success builds momentum and inspires continued effort, transforming routine actions into a meaningful journey toward mastery. Daily tracking encourages reflection and adjustment. When you review your recorded actions, you gain insight into what is working and what is not. Patterns emerge, highlighting areas that need more focus and those that are yielding results. Reflection allows you to make informed decisions, refine strategies, and optimize your efforts. Without tracking, mistakes may repeat unnoticed, and opportunities for improvement are missed. Awareness of patterns empowers you to act intentionally rather than reactively. Consistency is reinforced through daily tracking because it makes effort measurable and visible. Each day that you commit to recording actions strengthens the habit of reliability. Over time, the act of tracking itself becomes a discipline that keeps you aligned with your goals. The consistency developed through this practice compounds, ensuring that small daily actions accumulate into significant achievements over weeks, months, and years. Tracking progress is also a tool for prioritization. When you review what you accomplish each day, it becomes clear which activities generate results and which do not. This awareness allows you to focus energy on high-impact tasks while minimizing time spent on distractions or less productive actions. A clear record helps align daily effort with long-term goals, ensuring that each action contributes meaningfully to your desired outcomes. Accountability can be strengthened by combining personal tracking with shared reporting. Whether through a mentor, coach, or peer group, sharing progress adds an external layer of responsibility. Knowing that someone else will review your actions motivates you to maintain consistency and pursue excellence. External accountability complements self-tracking by providing encouragement, feedback, and a broader perspective on your journey. Visualization of progress is another benefit of daily tracking. Recording achievements allows you to see the accumulation of effort over time. Graphs, charts, or even simple lists create a tangible representation of growth. Visualization reinforces confidence, highlights patterns of success, and motivates continued effort. Seeing how far you have come provides perspective, encouraging perseverance even when challenges arise. Tracking also encourages proactive problem-solving. When results are documented, it becomes easier to identify obstacles that hinder progress. Analyzing patterns helps reveal bottlenecks, recurring mistakes, or inefficient methods. With clear data, you can implement changes that enhance productivity, reduce wasted effort, and create more effective strategies for success. Reflection and adjustment based on tracked data transform effort into intelligent, informed action. The habit of tracking instills discipline. Consistently logging actions requires focus, commitment, and honesty. It creates a feedback loop where effort is monitored, analyzed, and adjusted daily. Over time, this practice strengthens self-control, builds awareness, and reinforces the connection between effort and results. Discipline developed through tracking extends to all areas of life, creating a foundation for sustained personal growth. Daily tracking also helps maintain emotional balance. It reduces stress by providing a clear understanding of what has been accomplished and what remains. Anxiety often arises from uncertainty and lack of direction. By keeping a precise record of actions, you eliminate ambiguity and gain a sense of control. Clarity brings peace of mind and allows you to approach challenges with calm confidence rather than reactive frustration. Tracking strengthens learning by providing feedback loops. Each recorded action is an opportunity to analyze effectiveness, refine techniques, and improve outcomes. This approach creates a culture of continuous improvement, ensuring that you evolve, adapt, and enhance skills over time. Learning accelerates when actions are observed, evaluated, and adjusted systematically. The discipline of tracking transforms experience into knowledge and knowledge into skill. Consistency achieved through tracking compounds results. Each day's efforts build upon the last, creating momentum that becomes unstoppable over time. Small daily actions, when tracked and repeated, grow into habits, routines, and accomplishments that appear monumental in retrospect. Momentum is created not through sudden bursts of effort, but through disciplined, measurable progress that compounds continuously. Daily tracking also enhances goal alignment. By recording actions in relation to objectives, you can assess whether you are moving in the right direction. Misalignment becomes obvious quickly, allowing for immediate course correction. Tracking bridges the gap between intention and reality, ensuring that your daily efforts reflect your larger vision. This alignment is crucial for sustained motivation and meaningful achievement. Tracking progress promotes self-confidence. Observing consistent effort and tangible results reinforces belief in your abilities. Confidence grows as you witness your capacity to follow through, overcome challenges, and create results. Each logged success, no matter how small, strengthens the foundation of self-assurance that fuels further achievement. Finally, tracking progress transforms your mindset. It shifts focus from vague ambition to deliberate action, from reactive behavior to proactive strategy. It replaces uncertainty with clarity, discouragement with motivation, and inconsistency with discipline. When you commit to daily tracking, you create a system that empowers growth, ensures alignment with goals, and builds unstoppable momentum. Progress is no longer accidental. It becomes a deliberate, measurable, and achievable reality that propels you toward success. Chapter 18. Strengthen confidence by celebrating small wins along the journey. Confidence is built through consistent action, and every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory that deserves recognition. Waiting for major milestones or dramatic results to feel accomplished keeps progress delayed and self-belief fragile. Celebrating small wins strengthens your mindset, reinforces positive habits, and fuels motivation to continue moving forward. Each small success is a signal to your brain that effort leads to results, creating momentum that grows naturally into larger achievements over time. Acknowledging small victories shifts focus from what remains unfinished to what has already been accomplished. This simple habit counteracts discouragement and reduces feelings of overwhelm. When you recognize even minor progress, you internalize the belief that your actions are effective. Confidence grows not only from achieving big goals, but from consistently completing tasks, practicing discipline, and honoring commitments each day. Celebrating small wins reinforces positive behavior. When you take a moment to appreciate an effort well done, it increases the likelihood that you will repeat that behavior. The brain associates action with reward, strengthening habits that lead to continued success. Over time, these small reinforcements compound, creating a pattern of consistency and resilience that enhances overall confidence. Tracking small achievements allows you to see progress you might otherwise overlook. Many people underestimate their growth because they focus solely on long-term objectives. By acknowledging incremental improvements, you create a tangible record of advancement that inspires continued effort. This habit keeps motivation high and provides clear evidence that consistent work produces results. Small wins also cultivate a positive mindset. Focusing on achievements rather than shortcomings encourages optimism and reinforces a sense of capability. Recognizing effort helps reduce self-criticism and builds an internal narrative of competence. When you celebrate progress regularly, you strengthen your belief that you are capable of achieving larger goals, and you approach challenges with a sense of preparedness and confidence. The act of celebrating is not about arrogance or complacency. It is about validation and reinforcement. It confirms that your hard work has meaning and value. This recognition, even if simple, energizes you and makes the journey toward bigger objectives more manageable. Celebrating creates a cycle of positivity, motivation, and growth that continuously strengthens confidence. Sharing small victories with others magnifies their impact. Discussing progress with supportive friends, mentors, or colleagues encourages reinforcement from external sources. Others' acknowledgement amplifies your sense of accomplishment and provides an additional layer of encouragement. Positive social reinforcement builds belief in your capabilities and motivates continued pursuit of goals. Breaking down large goals into smaller, achievable steps allows for regular celebration. Massive objectives can feel overwhelming, and the distance to completion may seem discouraging. By identifying milestones along the path, you create natural opportunities to acknowledge effort and build confidence. Each milestone becomes a checkpoint that confirms forward movement and reinforces commitment to the larger vision. Celebrating small wins also strengthens resilience during setbacks. Recognizing past successes reminds you that you are capable of progress even when current circumstances are difficult. It reinforces the understanding that challenges are temporary and that consistent effort produces results. Confidence is fortified when you reflect on cumulative victories, giving you courage to continue in the face of obstacles. Consistency is reinforced through celebration. When each step, no matter how small, is acknowledged, it becomes easier to maintain effort and discipline. The act of recognition creates positive feedback loops, where motivation is renewed daily and momentum continues without relying solely on external rewards. Confidence grows naturally when effort is consistently validated. The process of celebrating small wins builds self-trust. When you honor your progress, you confirm to yourself that your commitments and actions are reliable. This strengthens personal accountability, which further fuels confidence. Trust in yourself grows as you witness your ability to follow through, stay consistent, and achieve meaningful results. Small celebrations also encourage reflection and learning. When you pause to acknowledge accomplishments, you have an opportunity to evaluate what actions led to success. This awareness allows you to replicate effective strategies and refine approaches, creating a continuous cycle of improvement. Confidence increases when you understand how your actions directly influence outcomes and when you see the connection between effort and reward. Appreciating incremental progress prevents burnout. Many people feel exhausted by pursuing large goals without recognizing their achievements along the way. Taking moments to celebrate smaller wins provides motivation, refreshes energy, and reinforces commitment. These moments of acknowledgement prevent discouragement and maintain focus on long-term objectives. Building a habit of celebrating achievements strengthens mental resilience. Recognizing victories shifts focus from scarcity to abundance, from frustration to appreciation. Each win, no matter how small, becomes evidence that effort produces results and that challenges are surmountable. Over time, this practice rewires your mindset to expect success and approach goals with confidence. Celebration also reinforces courage. Every time you acknowledge progress, you validate your willingness to act, take risks, and step outside your comfort zone. Confidence grows as you confirm that effort, persistence, and initiative yield results. This courage encourages you to continue taking bold steps, further accelerating personal growth and achievement. Small wins accumulate to create a sense of mastery. Confidence is not built in isolated moments, but through repeated success and the accumulation of positive experiences. By recognizing each step forward, you build a foundation of competence that supports larger ambitions. Mastery is a product of consistent progress, and each small victory is a building block toward expertise and self-assurance. Recognition of small victories encourages gratitude. Appreciating what you have accomplished shifts attention from limitations to strengths. Gratitude reinforces positivity, nurtures resilience, and cultivates a mindset that sees opportunity rather than obstacles. Confidence is enhanced when you understand the value of consistent effort and the tangible results it produces. Celebrating small wins strengthens intrinsic motivation. When you recognize progress independently of external validation, you develop internal drive that sustains effort over time. Motivation becomes self-reinforcing because each success reinforces the belief that effort leads to meaningful outcomes. Confidence grows as you experience repeated evidence of your capability and resilience. Finally, building the habit of celebrating small wins transforms your entire approach to personal growth. It converts effort into momentum, actions into confidence, and persistence into achievement. Every small victory becomes a step toward your larger vision, each one reinforcing belief in your abilities and inspiring continued effort. By consistently acknowledging and valuing these wins, you cultivate unwavering confidence that carries you through challenges, sustains progress, and ensures long-term success. Chapter 19. Take responsibility for choices to gain personal freedom. Freedom begins when you take full responsibility for every choice in your life, and embracing this principle is the foundation of true personal empowerment. Too often, people blame circumstances, other individuals, or external forces for their situation, allowing excuses to dominate their mindset. This approach creates dependency, frustration, and a feeling of powerlessness. Accepting responsibility for your actions, decisions, and responses liberates your mind from limitation, giving you the authority to shape your reality. Each choice you acknowledge and own strengthens your capacity to act intentionally and live with purpose. Taking responsibility requires honest self-reflection. It involves examining your decisions without rationalizing or minimizing your role in outcomes. When you consistently analyze the impact of your actions, you gain clarity about what drives results and what holds you back. This clarity fosters empowerment because it removes the illusion that life happens to you. Instead, it reveals the truth. Your life is a product of your decisions, and you have the power to influence it. Ownership of choices also builds accountability. When you stop blaming others and start acknowledging your role, you reinforce discipline and integrity. You understand that every action has consequences, and you cultivate the habit of thinking before acting. Accountability strengthens trust in yourself and develops a mindset that values consistency, focus, and responsibility. This mindset becomes a cornerstone for personal growth and long-term success. Embracing responsibility enhances problem-solving ability. When you recognize your influence over outcomes, you approach challenges with creativity and determination rather than frustration or denial. Problems become opportunities to practice discernment, adapt strategies, and improve decision-making. Accepting responsibility transforms obstacles into lessons and empowers you to act decisively rather than reactively. Responsibility also fosters independence. When you stop relying on others to manage your life or dictate outcomes, you gain freedom to make decisions aligned with your values and goals. Independence strengthens confidence because your sense of control comes from your own actions rather than external validation. Every decision you take and own reinforces your autonomy and allows you to live intentionally rather than passively. Taking responsibility for choices builds resilience. Life is unpredictable, and setbacks are inevitable. By owning your decisions, you develop the strength to face consequences without fear or avoidance. You learn to recover quickly, make adjustments, and continue moving forward. Responsibility instills a mindset that accepts failure as feedback, creating a foundation of mental toughness and unwavering perseverance. Every choice you own influences your relationships. When you accept responsibility, you communicate integrity and reliability to others. People respect those who take ownership of their actions and decisions. This accountability fosters trust, strengthens connections, and reduces conflict. By demonstrating responsibility, you create an environment where cooperation, respect, and mutual growth can thrive. Responsibility also fuels personal growth. When you acknowledge your role in shaping outcomes, you identify areas for improvement and skill development. You become proactive in seeking knowledge, refining habits, and enhancing abilities. Personal growth accelerates when learning is approached through the lens of accountability, as each decision becomes an opportunity to expand competence and character. Self-awareness deepens through responsible action. Reflecting on your choices reveals patterns in thinking, behavior, and emotional responses. Understanding these patterns enables you to make better decisions, break negative cycles, and reinforce positive habits. Awareness gained through responsibility equips you to act strategically, anticipate consequences, and pursue outcomes aligned with your values and vision. Freedom and responsibility are intertwined. True freedom is not the absence of constraints, but the ability to act intentionally within the reality you create. When you accept full ownership of your choices, you are no longer controlled by fear, doubt, or external circumstances. Responsibility grants the authority to define your path, make deliberate decisions, and craft a life that reflects your highest priorities. Taking responsibility encourages proactive decision-making. Instead of waiting for events to dictate action, you anticipate outcomes and make choices that steer your life toward desired goals. Proactivity reduces reactive behavior, prevents unnecessary mistakes, and strengthens confidence in your ability to handle challenges. Each proactive decision reinforces the principle that you are the driver of your own life. Responsibility cultivates ethical and moral clarity. When you own your choices, you evaluate actions in terms of values, principles, and consequences. Ethical decision-making becomes a natural practice because you understand the link between choices and outcomes. Integrity is reinforced, and your actions consistently reflect the person you aim to become. Taking responsibility also reduces fear and anxiety. Blaming others creates dependency and uncertainty, but ownership gives you control over outcomes. When you acknowledge your power to influence situations, worry diminishes and confidence rises. Accepting responsibility frees your mind to focus on solutions, strategic actions, and purposeful growth rather than dwelling on excuses or setbacks. Consistency in responsibility strengthens habits. Each choice you own reinforces discipline and self-control. By committing to act with accountability, you create a routine of deliberate action. Habits formed through responsible behavior compound over time, producing reliable results, greater efficiency, and sustainable progress in every area of life. Owning choices also enhances problem anticipation. When you track the outcomes of your decisions, you learn to predict potential obstacles and plan accordingly. Responsibility teaches foresight, improves judgment, and reduces reactive mistakes. By evaluating past decisions and outcomes, you gain insight into patterns that inform smarter choices moving forward. Responsibility empowers emotional mastery. Acknowledging your role in outcomes allows you to manage emotional reactions to success and failure. You gain the ability to respond rationally rather than impulsively, reducing regret and reinforcing stability. Emotional control cultivated through responsibility creates resilience, focus, and confidence in navigating complex circumstances. Taking responsibility encourages long-term thinking. Each decision is viewed in the context of its broader impact, aligning short-term actions with long-term objectives. This perspective ensures that choices are intentional, strategic, and aligned with your vision for success. Responsibility bridges the gap between immediate gratification and lasting achievement. Ultimately, embracing responsibility transforms your life. It shifts your perspective from victimhood to empowerment, from indecision to deliberate action, and from dependence to autonomy. Every choice you accept strengthens freedom, confidence, and resilience. Responsibility is not a burden. It is a tool that grants control, cultivates growth, and opens the door to true personal freedom. By consistently taking responsibility for every action, you gain the clarity, power, and control necessary to design a life that reflects your values and aspirations. Freedom becomes a natural outcome of ownership, And personal potential is unlocked through deliberate, accountable choices. Every decision you make is an opportunity to strengthen self-mastery and create a life of purpose, excellence, and unshakable confidence. Chapter 20. Keep learning and adapting to grow stronger every day. Growth requires relentless learning and continuous adaptation because every day presents an opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more capable. Stagnation occurs when you assume that what you know is enough, but real progress demands curiosity, openness, and the willingness to embrace change. Every experience, success, or setback contains lessons that can be applied to improve your skills, mindset, and decisions. When you commit to learning and adapting daily, you create a trajectory of consistent improvement that compounds over time, allowing you to reach higher levels of competence and resilience. Learning begins with awareness. To grow, you must first recognize areas where knowledge, skill, or understanding can be expanded. Honest self-assessment identifies gaps in ability, thinking, and approach. Once these gaps are clear, you can actively seek information, practice new skills, and refine strategies to improve outcomes. Awareness is the foundation because it directs your efforts where they will have the greatest impact. Adapting requires flexibility in thought and action. Life does not follow predictable patterns, and challenges will always arise unexpectedly. Success belongs to those who adjust effectively rather than rigidly clinging to outdated methods. When you evaluate results objectively and adjust your approach accordingly, you transform obstacles into stepping stones. Flexibility ensures that learning is not just theoretical but applied, producing real and measurable growth. Every day provides a classroom if you choose to see it that way. Mistakes, failures, and difficulties are not setbacks. They are lessons waiting to be understood and applied. By analyzing these experiences, you extract insight that shapes smarter decisions, sharper strategies, and stronger resilience. Learning from experience accelerates growth far faster than repeated trial and error without reflection. Building a habit of continuous learning requires deliberate action. Reading, listening, observing, practicing, and questioning are all methods to gather knowledge. Each day should include some form of intentional learning, whether it is improving a skill, gaining insight into human behavior, or understanding a process that enhances your effectiveness. Learning becomes exponential when applied consistently and integrated into daily routines. Adapting also means embracing change proactively. Waiting until circumstances force a shift often results in stress, lost opportunities, and wasted energy. Those who anticipate shifts in environment, technology, or relationships and adjust strategies accordingly maintain momentum and gain advantage. Adaptation requires both awareness of trends and courage to implement necessary changes without hesitation. Learning without application is incomplete. Knowledge becomes power only when it informs action and influences outcomes. Practicing newly acquired skills, testing ideas, and refining approaches transforms information into capability. Action ensures that learning is tangible and reinforces confidence in your ability to grow continuously. Each applied lesson strengthens competence and accelerates mastery. Reflection is critical to ongoing growth. Daily review of experiences, decisions, and results allows you to recognize patterns, understand what works, and identify areas for improvement. Reflection turns experience into wisdom and reinforces a mindset that values progress over perfection. Without reflection, learning remains fragmented and adaptation becomes reactive rather than strategic. Resilience is strengthened through learning and adaptation. Each challenge encountered provides insight into personal strengths and weaknesses, allowing for better preparation in the future. Adapting to circumstances develops mental flexibility, emotional balance, and strategic thinking. The more you learn and adjust, the more capable you become of handling uncertainty with confidence. Growth also requires humility. Recognizing that there is always more to learn fosters curiosity and openness to new perspectives. Humility prevents stagnation and encourages continuous improvement. Those who approach life with a mindset that values learning over ego remain flexible, adaptable, and prepared for challenges that others may avoid or mismanage. Learning and adapting daily strengthens problem-solving ability. Encountering unfamiliar situations forces creative thinking, analysis, and evaluation. By approaching problems as opportunities to grow knowledge and skill, you develop sharper judgment, quicker decision-making, and innovative solutions. The combination of learning and adaptation produces competence that is both practical and strategic. Accountability enhances the impact of daily learning. Tracking progress, noting lessons, and measuring improvement ensures that growth is consistent and intentional. When you hold yourself accountable for integrating knowledge into action, learning becomes a habit rather than a sporadic effort. Accountability creates momentum that compounds over time and guarantees meaningful results. Adapting also builds courage. Stepping into new experiences or altering familiar routines can feel uncomfortable, but courage emerges when you act despite uncertainty. Each time you adjust and apply what you have learned, you reinforce your ability to confront challenges and embrace opportunity without hesitation. Confidence grows as adaptability becomes a natural response rather than a struggle. Daily learning encourages creativity. Exposure to new ideas, methods, and perspectives sparks innovative thinking. Adapting these insights to your context generates unique solutions and strategies that set you apart. Continuous learning ensures that your mind remains active, flexible, and capable of responding to problems with originality and efficiency. Integration of knowledge requires discipline. It is not enough to simply acquire information. You must internalize it, practice it, and refine it over time. Discipline in applying lessons ensures that learning translates into improved habits, better decisions, and enhanced outcomes. Consistency and integration is what turns knowledge into mastery. Learning and adapting enhances self-confidence. Each new skill acquired and each adjustment successfully implemented reinforces belief in your abilities. Confidence grows as evidence accumulates that you can navigate challenges, overcome limitations, and improve consistently. Self-assurance becomes a byproduct of commitment to growth rather than a superficial trait dependent on circumstances. Reflection on progress nurtures wisdom. By reviewing decisions, understanding the results, and evaluating alternative approaches, you develop a strategic mindset capable of anticipating consequences. Wisdom emerges from repeated cycles of learning, application, and adaptation, allowing for increasingly effective and informed choices. Learning and adaptation fuel personal freedom. Knowledge expands options, skills expand capabilities, and flexibility allows you to respond effectively to change. The more you invest in understanding and improvement, the less constrained you become by circumstances, limitations, or external pressures. Growth creates autonomy, empowering you to navigate life with intention and control. Finally, embracing daily learning and adaptation transforms the trajectory of your life. Each day becomes an opportunity to acquire knowledge, practice skills, and adjust strategies in ways that strengthen resilience, competence, and confidence. Over time, this disciplined approach produces continuous growth, lasting improvement, and the ability to thrive in any environment. Commitment to learning and adapting is the ultimate pathway to becoming stronger, more capable, and fully empowered to create the life you desire.